Okay, it looks like we're live. I'll just double check. Hope my hair's all straight. Let's have a quick look. Hang on, where are we? Back in here. Where have I put it? There we are. Okay. Are we? Yes, we are live. Good. I'll just throw that to this front. All right. Okay. Welcome, guys. Welcome to this episode 55. Wow. Here we go. Gosh, we're really sort of rattling through these. Hi, guys. We've got Jamison, and Oliver, and Sorbical, and Battle Mode. Welcome, guys. What hair? What do you mean, what hair? I've got a bit of hair on the side, haven't I? A bit on that side. It's there. No, it's all good. Being bald is great. I love it. Hi, Fish Pilot. Anyway, welcome, guys. Bit to cover today, actually. The main focus of today will be on, I guess, the coming games from Slytherin, having a bit of a look at Terminator Dark Fate, I think it's called. Anyway, we'll have a little bit of a look at that one. And pull apart what they released last week. Now, it looks like these ChatTactic sessions are one day ahead of a lot of the actual releases that Slytherin actually now is doing, because it was one day after last week that they actually then did the reveal of Terminator, and tomorrow as well they're doing a big reveal on where they're up to with Field of Glory Field of Glory Kingdoms. So I'll cover what I know about that as well. So I've sort of got a few things sort of queued up. Hi, Chris. How you going? And so we'll just go through those different bits and pieces, but I thought we might sort of start off with a bit of a retrospective. We'll have a bit of a look at Age of Wonders 4. Now, I've got to be really careful what I say about Age of Wonders 4 because I've got a non-disclosure agreement about DLCs and stuff like that. So I've just got to I can really only talk about what we can see on screen. Now, I don't know if you guys do see anything that's been announced somewhere that then allows me to then talk about it. I will. But I've got to be very, very careful. Hi, Jason. How are you going? So anyway, what they did was it was nearly a week ago now, but they did actually a dev diary covering the post-launch. It was really quite impressive, actually, what they had done, or what actually happened with the game. So this is the first one now. Leonard, and Leonard has been basically the guy in charge of Age of Wonders right from day zero. Basically, it's great to sort of. I love seeing the Triumph get such success out of this franchise. I think it was a slow build up, to where it actually currently is. Today we'll be reflecting on the launch and reception, and we're going to be looking forward to the big Dragon Dawn DLC, and specifically the free Wyvern update that accompanies it. So that's what's coming next, is Dragon Dawn, the DLC, and I did want to talk about that. That's where I have to be careful of. So I just got to be careful that I don't say anything I shouldn't say. So hopefully that won't be the case. Hi, Jason. How are you going? And Thomas is saying good morning. Yep. And Chris is saying I just paused your podcast with Explominate to watch this. Keep up the good work. Thanks for that. It's funny, actually. I have a lot of fun with Ben, or Battle Mode, who's in chat now, and Drexy and Rob. And it's good. It's good fun. Hi, Charank, how you going? And Ridiculomatus. I've got to figure out a way that I can very quickly scan the long names in these, like in Twitch here, like in Twitch or here on YouTube. Anyway, we'll get there. So anyway, the Dragon Dawn DLC, and specifically the free Wyvern update that accompanies it. Now, what's interesting about this one is you can see through here that you actually create your own dragon back in this one. So I can talk about what you can see. and so you can see that the actual type of hero that you can choose now is a Dragon Lord. So the Draconians are not just, you can see there the Draconian faction in behind there. So there's a Draconian faction, like the actual race. And then you actually can make a Dragon Lord commander for your forces, with a lot of things actually in through here as well. Like there's a lot of personalization with the actual dragons that you can then go and create, which is really quite cool. So anyway, that's sort of that's what we can see through there. So again, I've got to be so careful. It's just like stuff of what's coming. So I'll only show you what I can see. Okay, so Sorbical is saying, picked up Age of Wonders 4 at the weekend. Think I'm 20 plus hours in already. Yeah, no, it's a very, very cool game. Like, they've done an incredible job of it. And you can see there the dragons. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I can show that a little bit bigger than what we had there. The dragons look really, really quite good, with the way that they sort of are structured. And you do have, as I say, you've got a lot of personalisation that you can do with the actual dragons themselves. We'll just quit out of that one and keep on going, reflecting on the launch. So Lennox then saying, wow, what a launch. For us, Age of Wonders 4 launch has been a dream, both in critical and commercial success. Paradox put out a press release. The game is the fastest selling in the series, selling 250,000 units day 4 of release. Wow. We're still very grateful to all the people making this possible. So this is great. I'm really, as I say, I'm very, very happy for Triumph, because it's been a long road, basically to get here. It's been, over 20 years. So I've been a roller coaster, blah, blah, blah. I'll sort of rattle through. I won't worry about this one. Yeah, modding is off to a promising start, with the Steam Workshop already having 285 mods at the time of writing. We see people adding in new content like creative additional tomes, but also interesting adjustments to game flow. This is very inspiring for the team. This is great, actually. And now this is fast as well. Like with the Age of Wonders 3, it took weeks to months before we ended up getting pretty much anything that was really meaningful in terms of mods. But right from the start, the actual mods have been coming thick and fast for Age of Wonders 4. And as Leonard's saying, there's some really, really good mods. I've already got I think I've already got like 7 mods installed. It's what I now tend to play with the game, So it's certainly, and unfortunately, guys, I actually can't show you. I can't start up Age of Wonders 4 today, or like not for a little while anyway, just because of the content that's now in it on my system. So I almost thought, oh, I'll show you what I've got, but then I'm thinking, actually, no, I can't. I'm not allowed to. So all in all, Age of Wonders 4 has been a very healthy start, and we're looking forward to expanding the game with our feedback, with your feedback. Of course, we've mapped out DLCs for the coming year, but we also expect to do a lot in the supporting patches and updates. That's actually something I'm concerned about. And this is actually what they've shown. They've shown when the schedule is, vague schedule, just in quarters, as to when each of the DLCs is coming out. For me, it's too short a time, and I hope that I wish that they would spread it out a bit more, because it means that they're either going to have most of the things already built, or basically have such a strong plan as to how they're going to go forward with it that it won't change. And I think that when you've got such a tight schedule, it's going to lock them in, and I don't like that, because I know that what happened with Planetfall, there was a lot of changes that came with Planetfall through feedback with the community, and I hope that they give themselves enough time to do the meaningful updates, the free updates, to then change the game the way that it may need to change before they get too much into the DLCs. But I've got a horrible feeling that, based on their schedule, that they're going to lock themselves in. And I also find that the pacing of the DLCs seems too short in the feel for me. Like, it's sort of like, it seems like you finish, you're just getting used to one, and then suddenly you're into the next one. So basically 3 months apart. So Fish Pilot saying it also doesn't give them a lot of time for balancing. Yeah, I agree. I just sort of, I don't know. I don't understand the why they're rushing all those DLCs out. They've promised 4 DLCs, and they're basically going to be delivering them all within a year. Now, does that then mean that there's going to be many, many, many DLCs for the game? I don't think so. I don't think that's the way that Triumph does things, but I think there'll be more DLCs than just the 4 over time, I would guess. It'll be interesting to see what actually does happen. So I've got no idea about the information that would be coming with that one through there. Okay, so here we go. We've got more. This is more of the sort of showing what's going on. Let's have a bit of a look to see what we can spot. So this is the appearance. Now, this is a Wizard King that has been set up as a Draconian. So you'll notice that this one is not a dragon, so that we're going back to normal units, but this is the actual Draconians themselves. And so they're not flying creatures like in the previous Age of Wonders, they had a smattering of flying units. I sort of almost wish that there was, like for each faction, that there was something that was a bit more meaningful. But I think the mods will do that because they're already starting to do that. There's one mod which I've been playing with a fair bit actually. I haven't been playing many games, but I've been looking at it because I quite like the idea of it, where you've got body, and it doesn't show it on the screen here, and unfortunately I can't show it. But when you've got body and mind traits with the DLC, what this particular mod does is it goes and grabs it adds more to it fleshes out more of the body and mind traits, but also locks in a body and mind trait for each of the actual factions, which is really, really interesting. So it means that if you get an orc, you're always going to get strong, I think it is. Or if you go with a dwarf, you're always going to have bulkwood, and you can't change that. But you've still got the other two choices, and so it does make the actual faction that you choose much, much more meaningful. So it is actually really quite good what's actually been done with that one. So yeah, I like that feel because that also then gets around what the problem a lot of people had, which is that the faction ends up being like you can do too much with it, which I don't find that in the game because I tend to just lock in what I want anyway. But it's up to the player, that gives the player a bit more choice. But that way, I thought that was quite an interesting mod to actually have a locked-in trait as well as the other two body and mind traits as well, just to sort of, so you end up with 3 traits, not just 2 traits, which again, it's balanced across everything. So yeah, why not? That's actually all good. I don't know if I'm sure it'll be updated for the DLC content as well. Anyway, that's the Draconians. Having a bit of a look and see what they've actually got in through there. I'll just get rid of that one. Is it going to show us anything more? Here we go. The Wyvern update and Dragon Dawn. So the Dragon, he did say something. Yeah, okay, here we go. He's talking about it in here, actually. I did have a quick read of this before I started recording. So the Wyvern update and Dragon Dawn. The Dragon Dawn content pack and the massive free Wyvern update that accompanies it are nearing completion. I can already say that the date may be closer than you think, so I'm not allowed to talk about dates. Based on that, unless there's something else that's been published somewhere else. The Wyvern update, so it's nearing completion. I can already say that the date may be closer than you think. We are on target to make this the fastest DLC major patch release after launch of an Age of Wonders game. I don't know. I wouldn't be proud of that. I don't think that's a goal. That shouldn't be a goal. The goal should be not how fast it comes out, but how good it is. And so speed is not going to trump quality in my opinion. And that is something I'm concerned about with how fast all of these DLCs are scheduled to come out. I was surprised when I saw it. I thought, oh God, that's really, really pushing things along. And as I say, getting momentum without quality, I don't know. It does bother me. I've really got to say that I am concerned about that. But having said that, I'm just so impressed with what they've brought out with Age of Wonders 4. We're up to. So hi Bubo, how you going? And Scarabus. Yep. So and Scarabus saying I'm very happy with Age of Wonders 4 too. We're so easy to get into. It is really an amazingly good game. And Fish Pilot saying it also doesn't give them a lot of time for balance. Actually, I did that one before. Oliver saying I'm sure money isn't a big factor. Yeah, not anymore. I wouldn't think. Ramstein is saying what's the biggest issues in Age of Wonders 4 that you would change? There's certainly little things. I'm finding that I'm getting a bit bored with just all of the same type of units across all the different factions. I would love to see some race-specific some race-specific units. I would love to see that. But again, I think that mods will be able to add that for us. That may be something that comes with different updates. But I don't have a real lot of problem with it. It's feeling a little bit the same. I've put so many hours into it now. It is starting to play a little bit the same for me, no matter what I'm doing. And so I'm thinking that's just because I've just played too much of it. So, but having said that, I'm still enjoying it. I've still played a few more hours this week of it. It's just just for myself. I'm just enjoying it. Battle Mode's then saying they're rushing it out like a lot of devs are, and they don't know how long they have before this recession properly kicks in. That's true. I guess you do actually have the economy as well. But people, I think that with games, I don't know if games are that impacted by recessions, to be honest. I think that it's sort of like games are I mean, I guess the number of games that you get would certainly be impacted. And certainly if there was a percentage of people that were no longer in work, that would also kick in. But I think that also games are one of these things that people will invest their money in for, just so that they've actually got something to do that's actually cheaper ultimately than going out or doing something like that. So I don't know. It's a hard one, actually. I don't know what the stats are on that one, but I've always assumed that that particularly cheapish games will sort of do pretty well in recessions. So I mean, you can't really say look at the COVID epidemic or pandemic because everyone was stuck inside, so all you could do was actually play games. So Mariner's saying System Shock remake is doing good too. I think I don't know much about that one. I did see notifications about it. I feel like the shine has worn off on that game very fast. Says Battle Mode. You're talking about Age of Wonders 4, I guess. So, or you're talking about System Shock. Silverkill is saying the DLCs for Planetfall are all pretty good. Yeah, they will be good. They will be meaningful. I've dropped it already, to be honest, says Battle Mode. There we are. I'm not sure which game you're talking about, though. So, Admiral, and if it's Age of Wonders 4, I'm going to ban you from the chat, Ben. Only joking. I think the game costing $60 would be impacted. Games costing cheap. Yeah, that's true, Admiral. Yeah. Chris is saying, how's the optimization on Age of Wonders 4? I've only got only have a Corel 5 and 16 gigabytes of RAM. Corel 5 is a graphics program. I'm not sure what you mean. With integrated graphics, Distant Worlds 2 was shoddy for me at the start, but better since updates. Yeah, I think that, look, I don't know, to be honest, because my system is a bit of a weird one. I've got the graphics system I've got is built for rendering 3D. Like, so it actually does. I've got power in areas that even games don't use, but it's then weak in other areas, so it tends to play a lot of the games pretty well. But but my graphics card is really quite old, so I didn't actually upgrade my graphics card. When I sort of got the computer upgraded. Okay, so Chris is saying, is Age of Wonders 4 going to be better on the hardware with updates, do you think? I think it will be. I mean, I know that they're optimizing different things, and certainly they're when people are having problems with it, they're squashing them as fast as they can. Greg is then saying the cultures are too samey, and the end of the games you get the samey tome-empowered factions. Yes, I agree with you, Gary. I actually do agree with you that is a problem. It does need something to make the races more impactful now, but like when you get used to them. When you first start playing it, you think it's awesome because of the way things actually do work, but it would be really cool to just have like certain units that are race specific, and that would be quite good fun, I think. So because you're saying I've not played enough yet, and was hoping that the underground would be significantly different, though it feels too samey to the overground. Yeah, that's true. That's yeah. So I've actually been saying, yeah, Age of Wonders 4, it's good, but it's not for me. Yeah, okay, it is for me. I still love it. It's still my best game that I've played this year. So Gary X saying water and underground are lackluster. Yeah, they are. And again, when you look back at Age of Wonders 3, the water in that and the underground, to be honest, were pretty weak all the way through. And it was only mods that actually saved that. And I think that mods will be our saviour here as well. I think that mods ultimately will, because they're really exposing a lot with the mods that you can do with the game, including all the 3D. So I would assume that there'll be a wave coming, probably a year after launch. We'll start to see some pretty interesting things in through there. Fishpilot saying, I've dropped Age of Wonders 4 as well. It did make me go back to play Planetfall, and that has made me really excited for Age of Wonders 4 and Age of Wonders 4 in 2 years' time. Core i5. Okay, sorry. So did you say? You said a Core? I think it might have been Core. I read Corel 5. And because I'm a graphic designer, I'm thinking, Corel 5, that's I think that's even old. I don't use Corel, but I'm aware of it. Ramstead is saying Age of Wonders 4 made me go and play Age of Wonders 3 for the first time. There we are. Personally, I think transformation would be more limited but more potent. Yeah, it's I agree with you again as well. One thing I don't like as well with the transformations is I find that the nature transformation is too strong across all the units, just making them all so green. I would love to see less of that nature transformation just visually. Again, it's I don't mind the transformations themselves don't make a hell of a lot of difference in the way that they play, which I'm actually happy with. Yeah, so it's just saying like maximum 2 or 3 minor. I don't mind that, to be honest. I don't mind them having that open. Ben's then saying, I really feel like a game needs mods to fix things it did badly. Then it probably did. It's not a great game. Not trying to be controversial, but I do think Age of Wonders 4 was a bit overhyped. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that to the non-initiated. I'm allowed to pick on Ben because we do interact quite a bit. But no, it is one of those things. Like I'm an absolute fanboy of Age of Wonders, and I do recognise that. I've always, whenever I talk about Age of Wonders, I've got to always be mindful of just how much I love the series, because I know that I can actually overhype it, and I don't want to do that. Tenra is saying, hey Daz, I saw today a video of yours called the Top 30 Strategy Games of 2019. Would you be doing a similar one anytime soon for current games that have been released in recent years? You know, I should do that. It's sort of one of those things. There's been so many good games that have come out since 2019, like this, and particularly in the last 2 or 3 years. Like there really has been just a hell of a lot, of exceptional games. Dwarf Fortress. That's one thing I did meant to talk about as well. There's Dwarf Fortress news. If I forget, someone please remind me, because there is some exciting things, not so much about Dwarf Fortress, but DF Hack, which I'm really, really excited about. Sithil saying the problem is there's no reason not to get all the transformations you can get your hand on, which makes everyone seem samey in a longer game. Yeah, that's true. It's true. Fish Pilot saying, I wish that they would increase the potency of the racial enchantments and make it so that you could stack so many that you can't stack so many of them. Again, I'm wondering if that can be done eventually through modding, because I mean the fact that Linnet's saying that they've got so many mods. 285 mods. That's a hell of a lot of mods. Now I don't know what that like. For me, I would be worried about the quality of those mods, but certainly there are some good mods out there. There's some there's a color mod which I've got. As I say, I can't show it, but there is one that does the that actually shows the. And it's not actually done through the Steam Workshop either, by the way. This is all done through the Paradox system. So you can sort of log into there and have a look to see what they've actually got. But it's actually not bad with what they've actually got. So Wyvern update, what have we got? The accompanying free Wyvern update already has over 10 pages of patch notes. These are some provisional highlights I can share with you. So we've added a create faction button, which takes you directly to the faction creation flow. You can create a new. Okay, so all right. I'm in the basically the pre-release of all this stuff, and I wasn't sure when these things had come in or are coming in. This is pretty cool. You can now generate your faction before you start a game, and so there's a button on the first screen that actually does this one, and so this just takes you straight to faction creation. You can do that separate to any game that you've got. It still saves it in the same place. It's a nice addition. It feels good where it actually is. We also added 2 new traits, one body and social traits through there as well. That's really more for these guys in through here as well. Now, unless he mentions it, I won't say anything at all about that one. But that really is just adding the 2 extras for the Draconians. You can speculate on those if you like, but I won't be drawn in. Empire development. The Empire development tree has been rebalanced, so early skills will require more accumulated affinity and have an increased Imperium cost. Some skills have been moved later. So this is a free update that's going to be coming for the game. and are replaced with entirely new skills. We've already addressed several issues with them, such as wild expansion, so reduced chance of summoning a greater animal from 60% to 20%. Fixed a bug where it triggered on annexing ancient wonders or swapping provinces between cities. So just bug fixing. Military engineering now grants work camps instead of palisade walls. That's interesting. Outposts cost reduction reduced from 50% to 25%. That's interesting as well. I hadn't even noticed these things actually. So knowledge extraction changed from 50 knowledge per hero to 150 per hero. Okay, that's all good stuff. Souls, while several of the tomes will be visited in the update, necromancy tomes will have a rebalanced soul economy. The following changes should... Okay, I won't go through all that stuff, but basically there's going to be some rebalancing through there. Cavalry and mounted units, featured loud clear. You want more mounted units, so we're putting several units on top of horses, wolves, boars and the likes. The Mystic Spellbreaker, Houndmaster and Wild Speaker units will now be permanently mounted, while units like the Dark Pursuer, High Dwarn Defender and Glade Runner will get mounts when paired with an exotic mount trait. That's good stuff. These units will also be more easily recognisable thanks to the new optional cavalry tag in the unit panel encyclopedia. Quality of life improvements. What have we done to make the player experience smoother? Well, now you have the ability to disable the combat action camera, giving full control to the player. This should help with accessibility. That's something that I have seen some people have actually had trouble with, the amount of movement. When there's actually combat going on. I don't mind it. I find it does a pretty good job. Sometimes it doesn't show all of the detail, but anyway, you'll have control over that now. The show location button should now indicate way better where the corresponding event location resides. This has been an animated sequence so the player can visually see where their location is relative to their current position. Status effects are now also displayed in the unit abilities panel. Here you can see the number of stacks and duration of the status effect. That's good. Again, it's funny, I should have read this before I started to actually play the game again. If you attack through the underground passage, the reinforcement rule is now disabled. So it's always a one army. Oh, okay. All right, that was my exploit. That was how I played the game. I used to love playing underground because what you could do was it would have stacks of armies around the central passage, and only one army could attack at a time through it. Wow! So okay, that's going to impact the way I play the game. I haven't tested that. Added a new and previous button for the hero panel screen. That was really needed badly. Buttons for cycling through cities are now in a fixed position. That's good. So you do get used to muscle memory with stuff, particularly if you're just going through and clicking through things. You don't want them moving around on the screen. Miscellaneous fixes. I won't bother going through the fixes. Fixed a bug where spider webs are dealing double damage. Okay, that's going to be another exploit removed from a lot of us who play the game. So spiders were really there's been these little exploits that people find over time, and then you make a build around them. Like for me, the underground one was the one that I used all the time, because it was it gave you, starting off underground and having this thing where you can actually have a 3 stacks of weak units to defend the way through was really, really quite good. But you can't do that now, which is interesting. Which is really, really quite interesting. Okay, what else we got? The road further ahead. We're just beginning for Age of Wonders 4 and looking forward to expanding and improving the game longer than we have done any game in our history. Now that's interesting and scary as well at the same time, because what that's now saying is when you look at the drops, the DLC drops for Planetfall, you really are looking at I think 4 DLC spread over a few years, and so it was probably on average about 1 DLC per year. We're now looking at 1 DLC per 3 months, and so if this is going to be expanding and improving the game longer than we have done in any game in our history, we're looking at probably a game that's going to be going for, let's just say 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. So let's just say 5 years. If they keep that rate of DLC releases, this is going to be DLC bloat, and I really hope that they don't do the DLC bloat like the standard Paradox sort of what they do with their games. It becomes too much, and I that's why I'm a bit wary that the DLCs could become meaningless because of that, and so I just hope that's not the case. I hope that they're still strong about that. I haven't actually asked that question, but it's something I really should ask, because they were so strong about that with Planetfall, and Planetfall really did need one or even two more DLCs to keep on fleshing it out. But in this case, I've noticed that there's a lot more paradox style things in the game than what there was in Planetfall, which is not a bad thing, except that if the thinking has now changed in terms of DLC, I'm thinking we're going to get less meaningful DLC and a lot more of it, and that does worry me a lot. So anyway, there we are there. So that's where we are with that one through that side. By the way, I keep on forgetting to do this, but I should actually just advertise my Nexus store. If any of you do want any of these games, then there's a nexus.gg/DazTactic. I don't even have it on my little, just below where I am right now. I should actually put this stuff on there. So I do actually have the games available. Like I've got Age of Wonders 4 there at the top of the tree, Distant Worlds 2, Shadow Empire, Gladius, which is no longer free, unfortunately. We'll have a look at that in just a minute as well. Actually, we'll do a bit of a we'll do our own retrospective on Gladius, which is just incredible. I had a look at it just before I started recording this, Master of Magic. So there's a fair few different sorts of games in there that you can grab. So that certainly helps me a little bit if you are looking to grab some games. And the other one that you may want to look at is ko-fi, particularly if you're playing ko-fi.com/DazTactic. I do have free, any mod that I'm going to be building in the future, I'll have for free in here, so you can actually go and grab them. So I've got things like some of the Dwarf Fortress world starts are in this particular location, and also the Shadow Empire stuff at this point in time as well. But when I do make mods that aren't just like that can't be part of Workshop, for example, the Steam Workshop, I will actually place them in here so for people to download. So you can certainly sort of grab that from in there as well. So I'm making more and more use of the Ko-fi page. I do quite like what they do, to be honest. So anyway, that's there as well. Right. So anyway, I thought I'd just do a little plug for that one through there. Is my like face cam really dark? It just looks like it's really dark from where I can sort of see it. Anyway, let's have a bit of a read through. Now, I'll just probably to skim through. There's been a lot more comments. Yep, so transformations. Yep, longer game. I think we've done that one through there. And wish you could increase the potency of Rachel. It's now going off the top of the screen for me. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to have to come back for it. Okay, got a feeling devs are too used to modders fixing and enhancing stuff. Don't know if we did that one before. I think we sort of covered that one a little bit. I really like Sithel's saying I really like that. You can now do it through jumping through hoops, but doing it more directly with faction creation is great. Yeah, it's look, the game is amazing. Battle Mode's insane. Age of Wonders does have some of the best tactical combat in the genre. Just need a strategic side to make it more interesting. The map looks nice, but really it feels like it has zero impact on the game. I'm going to say I strongly disagree with that now. Again, there's so many different ways of actually playing the game, like with what they've actually done with their world creation, and it's one of those things where as you unlock deeper into the game itself, I'm finding it for the first time yesterday. Actually, I started up a game using the lava lakes, and I was surprised at just how many choke points that particular start builds for you. It really is amazing. Like, it really is incredible, and it's probably going to be my favorite way of playing the game, I think. And so I'm finding that every time I try a different map creation mode, I'm finding it wildly different and very, very strategic. So for me, it's actually been really, really interesting. Again, I wish I could show that, but I just can't open the game up. So I'm not going to be able to do that for a little while, actually. So Battlemode saying, I think the magic system is underwhelming too balanced with no overwhelming power on display. I want to feel magic doing magic, and Age of Wonders, it feels run-of-the-mill. Again, I like where it is. You've still got spells that will do big damage. So for me, it's actually pretty much right where I would want it to be. Yeah, it's sort of, there's some game, I don't mind games that actually downplay the magic. I'm trying to, actually the game that really I've become more and more impressed with the more I play it is Master of Magic. And Master of Magic, the spells are mainly there to buff units and to weaken units, but they're not there to damage units. And I really, really like that. And I think Age of Wonders is now doing the same sort of thing. But like as I say, the more I play Master of Magic, the more I like that system. I used to always just default to trying to get flame spells or something in Master of Magic, and I no longer do it because I find it better to rely on your units. And have the weaker, and then weaken other units or buff your own units. I found that to be a much more enjoyable way to play the game as well with this Master of Magic, and so I don't mind at all what Age of Wonders is doing with the spell casting. It's still more powerful than Master of Magic. Benjamin Solon saying that I'm loving Age of Wonders 4 so far, really getting stuck into the story realms and role playing instead of trying to be efficient. Yeah, I'm the same. I don't try to be efficient. I've experienced a few computer shutdowns during the tactical combat though. Okay, yeah, no, some people have. I would report it though. Fish Pilot saying Battlemate couldn't agree more about the magic in Age of Wonders 4. I miss being able to flood half the map like in the original Age of Wonders. Yeah. Look, as I say, I actually quite like where the magic system actually is with it personally. Oliver saying, yeah, Paradox when we were talking about the DLCs. Sorbical is saying, Battlemate, there are very few games that do magic well, to be honest. It's really just a mechanic to give you tactical abilities on the field of combat. Yeah, it's as I say, I keep on getting more and more respect for what they did with Master of Magic back in when they first built it. I just can't believe how balanced the original game of Master of Magic actually is. Like it really is incredible. Like to have the first game in its genre to be that good. As I say, I'm playing it pretty much on average about once a week over on the Slytherin channel, on their Twitch channel, and just absolutely loving it. I'm absolutely loving playing Master of Magic. It really is an amazingly good game. It's one of those games. Even though Age of Wonders 4 has come out, and Age of Wonders 4 is certainly a much bigger game, I'm enjoying Master of Magic just the same. It's just the same as the other one. Okay, so Xana's saying, any DLC you'd recommend for your first shot at Gladius, or vanilla is fine for a first run? Absolutely, vanilla is fine for a first run. Absolutely. There's no. You've got 4 great factions. I'll come back and talk about Gladius. So I've actually got it. I've got it sitting right there, ready to talk about. So we will come back to it very soon. Okay, so. But I'm saying, yeah, Paradox being Paradox. Now, did I miss a few things? Sorry, I'm missing a few things. I'm just going to skim past a lot of these. So Tenry is saying Age of Wonders 4 will get the Solaris treatment for sure, as they're being so vague about how long they will go with it. Well, they're being pretty explicit, saying that it's going to be in development for a long period of time, but I am concerned about the rate of the DLCs coming out. That really concerns me an enormous amount, to be honest. Gary Oak is saying, Battleman, I'm excited about the update of Caster of Magic to 1.5 that is currently tested on Realms Beyond. Even more curious what CeraVe does after that update. Yeah, it's funny. I sort of was really hoping that CeraVe is, just to put this into context, I always forget that people may not be as into some of the games as what some of the rest of us are. Caster of Magic is a mod that was built for Master of Magic, and almost like a rebuild of Master of Magic, and it's been in development for about 20 years, I think. Like it's been I don't know if it's quite 20 years, but it's been a long period of time. And CeraVe, I don't think CeraVe started the mod, but he inherited it, and he's been the curator of the mod for a long period of time. And so and what it does is it really enhances the original game. And so it's once you start playing Caster of Magic, you won't go back to the original Master of Magic. And so I'm really glad that Slytherin was able to accommodate CeraVe with Caster of Magic for Windows, and actually at least so that CeraVe gets some income from that franchise, which I think is great. I really like how Slytherin actually does that. They're very balanced in how they approach games, which as I say, I really do like what Slytherin does. Their overall philosophy for me, I'm really a big fanboy of what they do as well. But anyway, so Cerave, I was sort of hoping that he would have more involvement in the direction of Master of Magic, but I was hoping for a Caster of Magic remake rather than a Master of Magic remake, to be honest. And even though it's heading in that direction now, with the different updates for the new build of Master of Magic, it's and I know that Cerave has been advising Muha Games on what has worked and what has not worked for him over the years, which I think is great. So there is collaboration, but it's not very close collaboration, is the way I can sort of gather the way it sort of does work. Anyway, we'll continue on. Okay, so Fishpilot saying, I'm okay with a lot of DLC. I just don't want to see $20 DLC for a couple of new monsters and a unit reskin. The reskins bother me, to be honest. I like having new things added to the game, and certainly this Dragon's Dawn, as you can sort of see there is new stuff that is being added. But again, I can't really talk about it. Yes, this seems a bit darker than usual. Okay, I'll try to fix that one a bit later on. I don't know. I've changed I've changed my the way I'm sort of trying to put my face cam on the screen. I'm trying to sort of save not just memory, but I'm trying to save resources, computer resources, so that I can actually then show other things, because I know that some of the stuff I show gets a bit stuttery, and I think that's to do with the camera. So I did actually tweak it during the week. Okay, where are we up to? Yeah, so Oliver's saying Illwinter is the game greatest of all time. They really are quite amazing, actually. Benjamin saying to Battle, know that there is a spell that gives a single unit invulnerability, I believe, but only for a single turn. And there are some good things in there. Chris is saying Heroes of Might and Magic has a good magic system. I haven't played that for a long time, actually. Hi, Picklefather Nurgle, how you going? Michael saying, what I really don't like about Paradox DLC is that they change the games a lot, but don't release the tutorials well. Been frustrating to have to relearn a game every 6 months. Now I'm still miles off the thing through here. I'll just skim through. So Marinus and saying Master of Magic Classic has got 1.6 community patch update, adds a lot of quality of life, edge scrolling stuff as well. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever play the original Master of Magic again after the new one has come out. The new one I really, really love a lot. And Marin's saying, lol, look at Europa Universalis 4, it has over 100 DLC. Yeah, that's certainly been what they do. And look, Triumph is still in control, so I just don't know how that will then sort of pan out. Hi Diamond, how you going? Battleman saying in Master of Magic you can cast Flight on a unit and the enemy has no archers or range they lose. That means you can turn an impossible battle around. Age of Wonders 4 system has nothing like that. It doesn't, and I don't mind where both games actually are. I think I need to play Master of Magic at some point. It's Sorbical. It's a very, very good game. Very good game. Battleman saying Simtex were legendary game designers. Master of Orion 1 is even better than Master of Magic. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't play much Master of Orion. I was playing Stars with an exclamation mark at the end of it instead, which I loved. I didn't get like Master of Magic. Stars for me was a much better game than Master of Orion. Marin is saying in Master of Magic, Chaos Magic is focused on damage spells, Fire Strike or Doom, Bolt change fights, but they don't do a hell of a lot of damage. You know, there's a healthy resistance to any sort of magic actually in the game, which I do quite like. I will skim past a lot of these guys. Fishpilot saying Master of Magic does a good job of making you feel like a powerful wizard. Yeah, I find that the heroes become very, very powerful, and they become a little bit of a situation with the heroes that once you get them leveled up, if you lose one, you've lost the game, and if you can defeat one of the enemy heroes, you've pretty much won the game, which I don't like that so as much as like it's sort of, that seems a bit too much for me. So it's just skimming through. I think what I might do is okay, Sizzle's saying I have played Stars. Yeah, it's a great little game actually. It was a great game. Oliver saying, Dad, you're familiar with Emperor of the Fading Suns? It's pretty bloody good. I haven't played that. God, there's another game that's coming out soon that reminds me of it, and I can't think of what that is as well. I keep on getting, though. There's an old game that sounds the same, and there's a new game and coming up, and I can't remember which one I've looked at, played. There is one on the way that I'm really quite. I think Emperor of the Fading Suns. That's the one that's coming, I think, isn't it? That's actually still a little way away. Anyway, let's continue on. That's Age of Wonders out of the way, so we'll just quit out of that one. Other news while we're looking at the Steam, I'll just go back to the store page in here, and finally, Distant Worlds 2 has become mostly positive instead of mixed. So we've now hit the 70% mark in Steam. So I say we. I sort of think that we're all part of the the Distant Worlds 2 trajectory. But that's actually just sort of hit just squeaked over the into the 70% now. For me, it certainly deserves a lot more than that. For me, it should be up around the 80, 85, even 90%, really where it currently is. I'm sort of surprised that the recent reviews are also only 71% in the last 30 days, because the game has improved a lot with the Lightspeed update. Anyway, I won't go into it in too much detail, but I've been streaming that a lot on my Twitch channel, and again, I just love this game. It's just such a great game. Other things we'll have a look at. Let's have a quick look at DF Hack while we are having a look at this one. So this is the free Dwarf Fortress modding engine that you can sort of now download through Steam, which is great. So if you do actually have Dwarf Fortress, you may want to opt into this one just so you can actually sort of run the game with DF Hack running as well. It certainly makes the game so much better. And that is, and what they've just brought out in their latest stable release through here. So if we just go to the highlights, so this has only just come through. Ongoing large projects, it's not there. PSAs. Yeah, here we go, highlights. Export Legends is now working, so you can actually export your Legends out pretty well. So that's actually going to be very good. We've got the so this is actually something I haven't tested it. What's missing though? The weird thing that's actually missing from this is that there's nothing that's been built. So it says down through here, note that Dwarf Fortress itself used to export more information than it does now, and many tools can't cope with the lack of vanilla information. The current best tool to use for existing Legends browsing is the cross-platform Legends Browser 2. Now the assumption would be, okay, well look, Dwarf Fortress came out in December of last year. It's been developed a little bit over time. It's certainly the Legends mode has been nerfed backwards a lot with the Steam release, but it does actually have, if we go across to this one and have a look at it, so this is actually just going back into the Legends browser. This one was edited on, actually that's May the 9th now. Okay, if I go to the actual GitHub, this is for the Legends browser. What's the date? What's the date on this one here? It's a month ago. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I thought it was actually older than this. I thought it hadn't been really updated since the launch of Dwarf Fortress. Anyway, we'll go back. I'll eat my words without that one through there. So Emperor of the Fading Sun. Let's have a quick look at that one. Emperor of the Fading Suns. Is that coming? What am I thinking of? This is not it. It's Alliance of the Sacred Sons. I think that's what I'm thinking of. Which is still not here yet. Still not here yet. So that's the one I was thinking of. I think the Emperor one is a really old game. If that's the one I'm thinking of, which I think I have played. Yeah, so Cecil's saying Emperor of the Fading Suns is an old classic. It has the whole tabletop RPG setting attached to it. Yeah, I think I looked at that, but again, those old games are really hard to record, so I don't tend to sort of do it. Mariner saying, Daz, have you ever tried to play Factorio? It seems like a game you might enjoy. Yeah, I have played it. I played it when it first came out, and I played quite a bit of it. But then everyone started playing it, so I went on to other games at that stage. Yeah, Battlemate's saying Emperor of the Fading Suns will be too old for me. Yeah, it is actually. So Oliver's saying Fading Suns is on GOG. It doesn't matter what it's on. Even Master of Magic, I've got actually a setting to record Master of Magic, but it took a lot of work trying to figure out the best way to record it. So, and I just don't really want to be like with those old games. It's you get very limited views, to be honest. So that I tend to pass on them. Okay, so anyway, let's continue on. There's because there are a lot of things that do continue on through that way. Let's have a look at Gladius, because Gladius, with it coming out now, it's back up to its pre-free price, and so what we'll sort of see through here, so the base game. So the question before was, do you need the base game or do you need to get DLCs to make it good? There's a lot of DLCs back and through here, as you can sort of see, that are available. But the base game itself, if we just go down to where it sort of is talking about everything, if we just go back down this way, you've actually got 4 very, very good factions in the base game itself. So you've got the Orcs, you've got the Astra Militarum, the Necrons, and the Space Marines. So, and these give you a really, really good feel about the way the asymmetric nature of the various factions, because they all play very, very differently. So Mariner's saying, I think the unit pack is mandatory. It really is one of these things where the different packs, everyone will have a different favourite. So if you have a favourite group from Warhammer 40,000 lore, then by all means go and grab those. There's a lot of unit packs, there's reinforcement packs, there's fortification packs, assault packs. So these all add different things to the game. Specialist packs, escalation packs, and firepower packs. So they add units to each faction, but you don't need it in the game. And but then you've got the other things that come in as well, like the Adeptus Sororitas. So you get the Sisters of Battle pack, Adeptus Mechanicus pack, which is probably, I think, the best of the packs. But that's because I like to play the game, and it makes it harder to play. Makes the game quite difficult to actually play as them. Craftworld Eldiri, if you like the elves, the Tau, if you like the Tau. I know that before they released the Tau pack, people were screaming for that one. And you'll see there the reviews on all of these are very positive all the way through. Chaos Space Marines, people like that one a lot. Tyranids I really liked, so I really quite enjoyed that one through there. So there's a lot of other things you can actually add, but I would suggest wait for it to be on special, and particularly like with that free weekend, it was really the free week. We could actually pick the base game up for free, but it really is an amazing game. Now, what actually happened with it? Let's have a look at its history. This is really amazing. So this is actually just looking at the Relics of War history, and this is what's happened over the last couple of weeks. So we've got like a few weeks of gameplay happening. This is what it was tracking along with about 300 players per day, and then they released it for free, and it went crazy. And if we have a look at the lifetime of the game, so this is actually going from basically back in July of 2018, sort of when the game actually did release. In fact, you can sort of see there it's got like the release in through that side there. So the 12th of July 2018 is when the game released on Steam. So it released with around about, say, 3,400 players was where it was. Then it's every time they've brought out DLCs, it's had like a bit of a boost along with the actual game itself. The actual players, soon after release, it only had like about 200 players. Like it really didn't do. Most games actually end up starting off pretty well and then track downwards slowly over time. And so this is like 5 years after launch. It sort of was getting within a few months, it was down to almost unhealthy levels. And then it started to sort of get like a little bit more coming through for a long, long period of time. Then they brought out the different, and I can't remember which DLCs these would have been, but that one then we suddenly started to get a lot more people playing it all the time. Then even more, and then more and more, all the way through until we get to last week, and then it's gone. We've now got we had 10,000 with 8,000 average players. That's 3 times the uptake of the launch, from 5 years ago. And what's interesting about that is it does take a little bit of, takes a few weeks for it to peter back off again down to other numbers. But you can see that even before that weekend launch, the average players was a lot more than what it was. This is a really interesting graph because the trajectory is in the opposite direction of nearly every other game you would care to look at. It really is quite amazing. And so the game has got to be almost like a classic game, I think, when you look at this, because the pickup over time, over that length of time as well, is just phenomenal. And the fact that they're still bringing out, they brought out a DLC, but that's the free week essentially caused that particular graph. And so even now after it's all sort of petered out and the free weeks are finished, we're still getting 4,000 players playing the game. That will of course dwindle down to sort of like lowish numbers, but the actual this is really quite an amazing story. I'm really sort of interested in what this one's actually doing. Anyway, that's just a bit of graph analysis of what's actually happened with Gladius over time. But I do find that really quite interesting to see this reverse trend line over the life of the actual game itself, to get more and more players playing, and that says this is a great game. Yep. So Sizzle's saying, only a few games grow with time, and this one is one of those, which is really quite interesting. And so this is the number of players playing during the week. So this is the actual average players, the players playing per week. So it's just a week by week in through this side. But again, that's almost unhealthy numbers after launch. That would have been quite scary, I would have thought. But then you look at it now, it's just phenomenal. It really is incredible. So. And they've got a new game coming out fairly soon as well. So they've got Zephon. Actually, Zephon has been pushed back. We looked at this last week, but anyway, Zephon has been pushed back because it now says 2024, and that's only recent. So that was saying sometime in 2023. So that has been pushed back a little bit. So it's from Proxy Studios. Proxy Studios are the developers of Gladius as well. So anyway, that's sort of where that one actually is. Right. Well, let's go and now talk about the actual game. That I don't think there's anything else there that I need to really worry about. So Fish Pilot saying I was bummed that Zephon got delayed to 2024, but it's half as good as Gladius. If it is half as good as Gladius, I won't mind. And look, I think Gladius is pretty exceptional, and I hope that it looks very much the same. Just in its approach. So I think it will be a great addition. I'm really looking forward to it. So that'll be one of my most anticipated games of 2024. But there's a few games that have been pushed back to 2024 that I'm really looking forward to as well. So let's talk about the Terminator movie. Sorry, not the movie, the Terminator game. Because they did actually release. So this is Terminator Dark Fate Defiance is the one that we'll have a bit of a look at. And so this is the one that is coming. Now, I'll go through the release videos. I won't go through the marketing videos that they've got here on Steam. But this is coming in Q4 of 2023. So we're still a good 6 months away. But they did a reveal last week, a big reveal on it as to where it all was. And you can see there. Yesterday we showed a brand new, never shown before mission. We have, okay, I don't know if it'll show it from in here. It does actually show it. This is actually, I don't think this is the one that I want to show. There's 2 videos essentially. I think they screwed up the actual recording when they were doing the live stream, because there's 2 videos. One of them, half of it is on Twitch, and the other half is on Twitch and also on YouTube. So I've got both of them. I loaded them both in so we could actually have a good look at them. I wanted to just try to pull apart the gameplay and just see if it's a game that I really would be wanting to play or not. And I know that there's a lot of when I was looking at the comments, I was watching part of it live. It was a bit too early for me, but I was watching part of it live, and so there were concerns about the era that this one was set in, because it's not set in the original Terminator timeline. But if it was in this, when was Terminator Day? That was a few years ago, wasn't it? The original movie, the Terminators were supposed to take over the world. Was it back in 2020 or 2019 or something? Anyway, it was at some time in the past, so of course they can't go back there. Eddie Ballgame saying, "Does any news on Ancient Arenas Chariots?" Yeah, only based on what they said in the Tea Time live stream the other day. That's a game. That is one of the games that I'm looking forward to. That's been pushed back to next year. That's one of the games that has been pushed back. So that the same team that's working on Ancient Arenas Chariots is working on the Stargate game. So it's the same development team, and so they're putting all of their efforts in, or most of their efforts, into Stargate. Even though Ancient Arenas got very, very close, like it's very, very far along with its development. The Stargate game has sort of got the nod with that one, which I'm a bit disappointed with, to be honest, because I've got pretty much almost zero interest in the Stargate game that's coming out, and I don't know. I'm actually really on the fence with this Terminator Terminator game. So we'll see how we go. So this is still saying good to see if it's still going. Of course, we have to see how good the Terminator game is in the end. I'm an RTS fan. Yeah, and this is actually one of these things where I'm more of a turn-based fan. So I tend to like games that are deeper than you, like in terms of what you can do with units. So I'll be looking. We'll have a look at that anyway, and so we'll have a bit of a look to see actually how we go. Admiral's saying, by the way, Field of Glory 2 is free on Steam now. If it is, it may only be for. I don't know if is it free to keep. Hang on, let's have a look. Let's have a look before we look at this one. Field of Glory 2. Is it free to keep or just free weekend? Well, actually, that's good. I was going to talk about Field of Glory Kingdoms coming up, because they're doing a big event tomorrow. Oh wow! There's some really quite cheap versions of. Now this is the ancient game, so yeah, pick this one up, guys. If you want this one for free as well, then grab this one as well. I didn't realize this one was already free. So that's really, really quite cool. And tomorrow Slytherin's doing a big reveal on Kingdoms, as well as a whole lot of Field of Glory 2 stuff as well, like Field of Glory 2 Medieval. Now, this is not medieval, so just be aware of that. So this is just purely Field of Glory, which is the ancient system. That's interesting, actually. It must be. I didn't know that this one was coming out for free, to be honest, and I don't know how long that will be free for. Just see if there's any information about that one. But they are doing a big event tomorrow about it. If we just go back to discussions. It's weird. Don't know why that's why no one's saying, "Hey, it's free." That's really quite strange, actually. It's really quite strange. So I've got no idea. Yeah, I would have thought they would have made a big song and dance about that, unless it's getting ready for tomorrow. With the Gladius, Slith has given away 2 top-tier games. Yes. It's free until the 9th of June, says Paul. Okay. Well, there you go. So there's you've got a few days to pick that up as well. So definitely pick that up as well. Like that's, if you don't have it, grab it. So that's Field of Glory 2. Thanks for the note there about that one. Yeah, Kyle is saying the Dark Fate movie was terrible, and I think people just don't want to be playing this Dark Fate thing. Unfortunately, what tends to happen, and I always always really shy away. Like personally, I shy away from movie franchises that get into games. I'm very, very critical of them, and so keep that in mind as we go through the through this next bit of it. Let's go and have a look at the what they showed, and so we'll pick this one apart. Okay, so yep, it's yeah. Anyway, let's just go into it. So I've got the footage basically sort of here, where we can sort of go and have a look to see what was sort of what was spoken about, what was shown. So as we sort of hover down the bottom through here, I can sort of go through to different areas. One thing I like as we go through it, I won't play much of this because it goes on for an hour or so, and I do find that these don't really often sort of show exactly what's going on. But they did talk about, and I'll just see if we can click on these. The main character is this lady. God, where is she? Doesn't quite show up. Just skim past. I'll just go back. Yeah, this is their main. Doesn't pause. So this is the main lady in the actual thing itself, and when you start to have character-driven games, for me, I turn off, to be honest. So that for me was like, I'm thinking, okay, that's not going to be all that great. It's going to be story-driven, and of course, movie franchise, it's going to be story-driven. And so already for me, my interest levels are falling fairly quickly. Again, I want to show it though, because I know that some of you that won't be a problem at all. Probably most of you actually, but for me, it's something where I find that when you're going through mission by mission, and I may be being unfair to the game here, but I find that when it's a progression of missions that you then are playing along a storyline, it's for me I lose interest pretty fast. Let's just go back and have a look through the rest of it. I'll just keep on pushing forward. They do show the different types of units, like there's gorillas in through there. Now, this is just fluff for me, like, to be honest, when I sort of see these sorts of units. I'll just keep it going forward. It's now buffering. Come on game. Come on Twitch. Yeah, technicians, so so there's different types of units, which, that's nothing surprising about that. You'd expect that in pretty much any game, I would think. So they talk about those. Let's just get to the gameplay, actually. Yeah, so they're showing how different sorts of things have been decked out with different sorts of guns. I was interested in this a little bit for the simple reason that it did show small caliber weaponry, not large tank weaponry. It was sort of almost like a armored car type thing, but on these sort of caravan sort of things, which I'm not sure how that sort of does actually work. Yeah, there might not be a license for John Connor. I think that what it probably is actually is that the time frame for the original Terminator movies we're already a few years past that time. I think it was 2020. I think that was when the original Terminator was set. Like in terms of things actually happening. Let's just go forward. So they're just showing things. They did this. I've got to say, like I usually find these sort of real action scenes really cringy. Usually, but I actually quite like this one. I thought that the actor did a really good job of what she had to do, but it's still cringy, but not as cringy as it could be. So I was actually quite happy. I thought they did a good job of that anyway. Like with what actually happened. The thing where I had a bit of a disconnect, and I'm going to be critical about this. The disconnect for me was to have live action and then computer action. So I think that that's sort of where things actually were. Now this is all in-game action, which just doesn't seem to work all that well. But and again, they probably really couldn't do much more than what they actually had there anyway. But we'll be critical. We'll be critical of the live action. But I thought that she did a good job of acting. With what she was actually asked to do. Anyway, let's just go forward. That's that character there is the main character in the game, from what they said. Again, character driven. My interest starts to go backwards pretty fast. Character driven in a non-procedural way is not good for me. So this is the main Yeah, Alex Church. So this is, I don't know if you play as the lady that they showed before, or you play as him, or a combination of the two of them. I just don't know. I just don't know how that one sort of does work. So anyway, let's just continue on. So I don't know if I'm being hypercritical here. I'll just zoom past all that until they get to the actual gameplay. Where is it? So, yeah, so they're showing this particular character. There's a few more different types of units, which is sort of what you'd expect. Let's just get to the gameplay. They do start the gameplay at the end of this stream. Here we go. I do want to show you the start of this. Not because there's something I've got in mind to show. This is the very, very start. All right, so now these are pre-built missions. Okay, so again, I'm just going to go through the things that I struggle with these sorts of games. I'll just try to get rid of that. Unfortunately, I've got that showing down the bottom there. I don't think I can get rid of that bar. And I don't know how much, I'm critical of the game anyway because of the character-driven. It's a real-time game. I don't know if it's pausable. I didn't get to see if it was actually got an active pause. I hope it does. That was one thing I really don't like games that don't actually have an active pause. Like Distant Worlds 2, love it. It's a real-time game. The amount of depth in Distant Worlds 2 is just incredible when you actually are using like the active pause. And one thing I really find interesting is when I sort of see other people play the game, people play it in different ways. Like some people just play Distant Worlds 2 on 4 times speed no matter what's happening, and that's fine. You know, everyone plays games differently, and I think people who are more used to real-time strategy games would tend to play those sorts of games like that, whereas turn-based players like myself will more likely be wanting to actively pause, tweak everything, and then sort of let it go forward again. So that's certainly the way I tend to be playing games. And so in through this side, we've got a big battle map. And so again, I think it works. What was the other game? Starship Troopers is a game that I also didn't really like the idea of, for the simple reason that you couldn't have active pause with it. I don't know if they've added that in, but it was something that really did bother me. So I didn't ever really take that game up all that much. Again, though, that game looked like they did a good job of setting up the franchise from the show or from the movies. And but this one here, we do actually have like a fairly big random map. The units you can see down through there's a lot of units that you actually then have access to. Different sorts of mech units down through this side as well. They'll have different capabilities, but I don't know how much you can personalise them. Looking at it, what have we got there? We've got hit points, ammunition down the bottom there, which is good. So there is actually a bit of ammunition showing up through that side. It looks like you do actually have some capability. Let's just run this one forward. And so they're going to grab different units. So there we go. They've got a Bradley. So the Bradley is the infantry fighting vehicle back and through that side. I don't know what this is. That looks like it's, I don't know what that actually is referring to, because that looks like the health down the bottom there of the actual thing itself. One thing I'm not seeing here is facing being important at all. It looks like it's just going to be fairly superficial. And this is where I sort of think of these games and look at other games like combat mission games where everything is modelled, like incredibly, even though it's a real-time game or can be played as a real-time game. These ones don't have that same degree of depth, but that's again okay. It does have different types of ammo, which is interesting. So they do actually have different types. I don't know if you get to choose those. Let's just go forward a little bit. An APC, an M113, militia. And snipers down through there. Yep, so they've got the different sorts of units down through this other side across the top. So there's a lot of units that you do have access to. But when we see them, they just go off and do their own thing. So they're moving through here. There's a column coming down this other side. See, I would find this so frustrating to be playing, to be honest. Like, just personally, needing to look at this the whole time, knowing that you've got to do certain things with that. So the mission is a preset mission. I think the mission is to rush forward and get onto that road as fast as you possibly can. So you're being pushed into a certain way of playing, and this is not very realistic. That would not be the way it sort of would then play out. And again, comparing it to combat mission prides itself on realism, whereas I don't think this game does. Yes, they've come in with they've got aircraft. Now I don't know how they call the aircraft in. Is it down here perhaps? I'm not sure. Second, the Terminators. So they're now on the hill line. And again, when I saw this, I was concerned because you've now got vehicles that are leaving cover to go across the other side into a position where they're fully exposed. Like they're fully exposed coming across the road. They're fully exposed going into an area that the others are clearly firing at. It just it seems strange. So that for me, there was no real... I didn't see much in the way of the units trying to take cover. So all they do is they just come in. So they're not crouching, like they're just standing up. So there's no other thing, even with the automatic thing. I'm thinking back to other games that do this one quite well, where they'll actually go up to a defensive line and then take cover and then fire, just automatically to try to protect themselves. But this just isn't. There's a few that are kneeling down. Oh no, they're just running. Now I don't, and this is the sort of stuff I'm looking for. I'm looking to see, is there any nuance to anything at all? And I'm not seeing it, to be honest. And again, I may be being unfair about that, but it just looks like they're not changing their facings. So facings don't matter. The game looks okay, but it's just not very deep. And I'm guessing it's just not. Again, that just wouldn't happen. You've got to your objective. You've got enemy troops out in front, and now you're breaking cover to run across to take another point. And it's just, these are the sorts of things that I do get frustrated. There's that one that went across before, but at least you didn't get rewarded for doing something stupid. These guys are now doing something stupid as well. Will they make it? These Terminators aren't doing much at all. Tank is in the middle of the road. Again, wouldn't happen in reality. Now they ran backwards. That does show morale issues, but I'm not seeing where it's showing up the top in here as to which one it actually is. Let's have a look and see. Yeah, see that's interesting. They're bouncing back and forward. So there's obviously some resistance back in here, and these just can't make their way across. Again, I don't know why they would have sent it. Again, that can just be the person playing the game is not doing well here. Now, they've gone prone, which is interesting. Okay, that's better. That's better. All right, so we are now seeing differences in through there. These guys are struggling, but again, they shouldn't have moved away from there. So, as I say, I am being critical here. But I'm not seeing the damage done to the actual units. There we go. I've got a scout car that's sort of gone across the other side. So they're all now firing on the other thing. So it looks like it's more of a almost like you've got to do a Zerg rush. Is basically what you're looking at with the game itself. It doesn't look like, and I hope I'm wrong about that, but it doesn't look like there's very much nuance in the way that you play the game. So they were all compressed. I don't know why they then moved out. They actually, now they've gone down. Hang on, if we just go back, will they show that again? Is there anything that gets clicked on? So they're moving up. It's hard to tell. Yeah, there's a cursor there. I think that they've got this one that they're recording on like 4K, which I wish that again these games would actually be just recorded on 1080p, just so you can see what's going on, because it's very hard to see that. So what did it click on there? I can't see where the actual cursor's now gone to. I think that they selected that group, but it's a militia group. So where's the cursor now? Where's that cursor got to? Yeah, they've only got one type of ammo. There's something down in here. Yeah, okay. They're talking. This is actually the settings you can actually have for the different units. There it is. So they've told them to go prone. All right, that's actually better. This is good. So you do have some nuance as to how you then control the unit. So I didn't realise that before. So I'll eat some of my words. So you grab it again. No, they're not. The units themselves are waiting for your explicit order. Now, this is a group that's back in through this other side. Why weren't they moved off initially? And they're all just standing around like really close to each other. Here comes another force. Yeah, so as they select different types of groups, they then actually have different settings down through this other side. Looks like there's repair. If you're towing something, I think you can just drop whatever you're towing. So I think if you like real-time games, I think you're going to enjoy this one. It's but I think for me, I'm not seeing, like, I'm pausing it myself, but I'm not seeing an active pause anywhere, and I'm not seeing it on the screen either. Now there may be behind where their heads are. I don't know if I'm being too harsh. Again, wouldn't happen. You know, this is crazy stuff. Which makes it feel very gamey and not, not very strategic. Battlemaid saying it looks like a typical RTS to me. It does to me as well, but in a superficial type way. So it's interesting because one of the comments that they did actually talk about was, okay, we've got a bit of byplay there. So this is again all sort of scripted. One of the things, yeah. So anyway, I won't go through. I didn't really analyse how they were sort of talking. Like I find that the comms in these sort of games are also usually really bad, but I haven't really looked at that in this particular game. But I'm not overly, just not my type of game, and I didn't see any active pause. So there goes the Terminator units. So they're taking objectives. So there are objectives in through this side. Why didn't they bring the reinforcements up though? They've got all those reinforcements back there. Yeah, again, just looking at some of the communication, would not happen. Absolutely would not happen, ever. And that doesn't, I don't know why that sort of stuff annoys me, but I just don't have, I don't know, games that don't try to make communications feel real do frustrate me. Now, I don't mind the Terminators just being like dumb in terms of, just coming down in a line, because that sort of works in with with being robotic. It's so I like, even though they're not spreading out, they're not sort of protecting themselves. Okay, they're machines. So that's I'll forgive that. But if they're supposed to, it looks like they just target whatever their actual objective is, rather than actually sort of trying to do anything a bit more clever. Again, no cover, and they're out in the middle of the road, doing an incredibly good job there. Now there is actually, this is interesting in here, the colour schemes that we're now starting to see. If we have a look, we can sort of see that we've got like it looks like that's health. I don't know if that's dead and then casualties, or if any of that's to do with morale as well. It is interesting. One of the things that on like this week's tea time that Marco had mentioned was that there was more. He mentioned something, I forget what it was, but there was something that he did actually talk about with with there being more depth than what they can show, which I'm actually heartened by. So that again, there may be more there. Also, one of the other things that they spoke about was that people were concerned that it looked like it was all just going to be in the desert, and they were saying no, because they can hand build all the maps. They've actually built maps across all sorts of different terrain. So, unfortunately, again, for me, I prefer that to not be the case. Actually, that was interesting. We'll just go back there. So when these guys come in, these two here, so they're moving forward. Now they're firing. That one there doesn't fire. Now, is it because, hang on, I'll just go back again. Is that because this thing's in the way? So it fired before, then it gets to that position. It can still fire, looks like across the top, but the main gun behind doesn't get to shoot. Now, I'm not sure if that's the case. I'm happy with that too, because that then means that you've got to be careful where you place units. So I'm not sure if that sort of works. Anyway, they're sort of now taking the different areas. Is this Terminator's coming back in again? Yep, so there's a group of flying Terminator forces that have just been wiped out. They did fire back at those. So it looks like that placement is going to be important. That is actually good in that sort of case. But I don't know if you got, like, that would then almost indicate that you've got like hull down positions as well, so that should be able to then sort of play a part. But you can see they're facing is not important at all with what they're doing. But anyway, I mean, I'm interested in what it will do, but I don't think it's my type of game, just based on there being no pausing at all. While they actually, no, there's a pause, so you can see it. Hang on, just let it go. Unfortunately, when I do this, I've got to wait for the 10 seconds or whatever for the top to go. There is actually a pause in the top left corner. I just don't know if it's an active pause. There we go. So you can see it now in the top left. There is a pause button there. So anyway, that's I'll just quit out of that one. So that was that one, and then on YouTube it then continues on again. So I don't know what happened there with their recordings, but that's sort of like then the start of it back and through that side as well. So I won't keep on playing that one, but this one is on its way. I'm not sure when this is going to be released. I think it's sort of at the back end of the year. Is it that one there? Did we look at that before? I think we did see it was Q4, wasn't it, that one there? If we just go back to store page. And Terminator Dark Fate Defiance. Yeah, Q4 2023. So that is coming, and I know that a lot of people are really looking forward to that one. So probably it's not one that I'm really looking forward to. Be interested to see if my initial assessment is accurate or not. Probably not. But I do get critical of these movie-based games. Yep, so Battlemode saying, stick to combat mission, Daz. Yeah, no, I love combat mission. I think it's, and combat mission's got more stuff coming as well, by the way. So if you do, I prefer games like combat mission where everything is modelled. But so Admiral's then saying, I don't know, I seem to like the game, although I'll make a full judgment once I buy it. Yeah, so I'd be sort of interested to see how many of you actually are excited by what you're seeing, or whether you're a bit on the fence like I am. I'm on the fence about it personally. So Mariner's saying, I don't care about single player and RTS games. I play the genre mainly for multiplayer. That's interesting as well. Like it's usually most games are played for single player, but and this I think will have that's why often active pause is not a feature of games that are designed for multiplayer. And this one will be a multiplayer game, I believe. Gary Oak saying they should try something like combining city builder with RTS genre, fighting in your own city and not trying to blow it up. Yeah, it's sort of, again, it's the maps are all crafted, so you're only going to get what you're going to get. So Oliver's saying it doesn't have a rock solid skirmish mode, then it'll flop. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think there's going to be a lot more in it than what they're showing, to be honest, and it's still got like another 6 months anyway of development. Fish Pilot saying, I'm too old for RTS anymore. My Twitch reflexes aren't what they used to be. Yeah, I'm the same. I am the same indeed. Just to go back a few of the other ones and see if there's anything else up there that High Veer in games. The Decadence mechanic prevented snowballing, which usually is a big problem in grand strategy games. I'm not sure what that was about, sorry. That was, I think, talking about Kingdoms. That was talking about the Field of Glory And so again, just remember, Field of Glory has got a big announcements tomorrow. They're going to be showing a lot of stuff. There's a heap of stuff actually coming. They're going to be it's a full. It's hours and hours and hours of content. Actually, they're going to be putting on the Slytherin channel, which is they're going to have tournaments. They're going to be having somebody going through how to paint miniatures. I actually, it's funny. I've never done it myself. I would never even want to do it. But I do enjoy watching people paint Warhammer miniatures, and I don't know why I like watching. I think my YouTube watching habits are quite weird, and that's one of the sorts of things I do enjoy watching. I think I like watching people that are good at whatever they're doing what they're doing. And painting miniatures is one of those sorts of things. I do find that quite relaxing to watch somebody, sort of putting their skills into painting a tiny little character. Anyway, that's the Sorbical scene. Depends on the RTS. I still love the Homeworld games, and Company of Heroes isn't that bad. Single player at least, as long as you can pause. For me, it's as long as you can pause. So that's the big defining thing. And if I can't pause the game, and by pause, it's not just pause and then the game puts a dark screen over it and you can't do anything. It's got to be an active pause for me. You've got to be able to give instructions. That's why I love Distant World so much for that reason, because you can play through, and then when things are actually happening, you can really not so much get in the middle of the game to give instructions, but to just see what's going on in real depth is for me really, really interesting. But I know that I'm a bit unusual in that sort of sense. His minis are really nice. I'm not sure who you're talking about there. Makes me laugh. He's really good at it though. I'm not sure who you're talking about there, Ben. So Oliver's saying on RTS's Warno has active pause. It's rad. I've never played Warno. It's one of those games that I'm familiar with it. But I've never actually played it. It's not that old either, is it really? Yeah, realistic, immersive, breathtaking. Warno is the ultimate World War III battle simulator from the Master Strategy Eugen Systems. It's still early access. I might throw that on my little list of games to try to follow up. I've seen it, but I haven't actually done anything with it. It's something that I wouldn't mind actually having a look at that one. Yeah, I'll have to have a look at that one. And again, there's other games that are coming as well. But that is one that very positive. That's good. 83%, 82%. So that's good. That's good ratings actually for these sort of more in-depth games. So. Okay, let's get on to the next thing. We've got. By the way, there's no giveaway today, but we'll still do a marble run at the end. Battleman's saying, Richard York. So you're talking about Richard York, yeah. So he's. Does Richard actually do painting? Does he? I didn't realise that he actually did the painting of miniatures as well. I had no idea. He's very good at playing Field of Glory, but I didn't realise that he actually painted the little miniatures as well. Mr. Flegel's Masterclass, I think they're the ones that did Steel Division. Those two games were so good. I didn't play that either. Eugen Systems, let's have a look and see. Steel Division 2, there we go. 75% off at the moment. So I've got a few other things that have come through there as well. I'll have to make contact with them. That would be interesting, actually. Yeah, I do like those sort of games, particularly if they are active pausable. So Roger's saying Jagged Alliance 3 will be out next month. Is it going to be any good? We had a look at that a few weeks ago, and it doesn't look very good. To be honest, it looks pretty shit from what I could sort of see. Jagged Alliance 3. I mean, I don't know. It's Yeah, it's hard to tell. There was something we looked at a few weeks ago, and I think it was one of those things I wasn't gonna try chasing it up because I did enjoy the very, very first one.
When the prospect of working on...
I'll just pause that. Come on, just show us gameplay. God, you're this far off. I don't know. There was something about it that just didn't ring all that well. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, the actual gameplay. Again, I think that I wish that they would make a Jagged Alliance with random maps. Was it Jagged Alliance that that had a really janky... No, it was a different game again. Sorry, I'm getting my games confused. Maybe that one would be worth having a bit of a look at. Let's have a look and see if we can find anything about Jagged Alliance 3, because it's just gameplay. No, they're sort of trying to put too much into it. And I think these sorts of games, you really do need to look for gameplay. I'll just go back to YouTube and just see if there's anything that we can sort of look at with that one there. Jagged Alliance 3, there we go. First preview. Come on, just show me gameplay. There's different impressions. Maybe I should actually look at some of these. It's a bit hard to tell. I'll just open up one of these. First 30 minutes of gameplay. Actually, I think we did look at this, actually. I'll just turn off the sound. Oh, this is the one. Yeah, this was really shit. This was really bad. From memory, let's have a quick look and see if we just sort of... I'll just skim forward. So it was very, very superficial from what we could sort of see with this. So they move in. Then there was a group of units that were in behind that little rock. Yeah, this is the one I was thinking of. It really looked very, very unimpressive. And it was all about units that just do exactly the same thing each time. So you've got these goons. But they were very, very non-clever, the way that it sort of then worked. I guess this is just a tutorial, so maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but it didn't look all that... It didn't do XCOM as well as XCOM, if you know what I mean. It's interesting, like, that you can sort of set up your fields of fire, though. And this is turn-based. Yeah, so it's Jagged Alliance with XCOM mechanics. So I'm guessing you then just end your turn. I shouldn't be as harsh because this is actually just the tutorial. Okay, that one's down. So you've got different targeting. Actually, maybe it still is worth having a bit of a look at it. don't know. The first time I looked at this, I really was unimpressed. Yeah. So anyway, that's that is coming. I don't know. It just seemed very superficial with what it did do, and it looked like the enemies were sort of just scripted to do exactly the same thing. So okay, so Mr. Fiegel's masterclass. I think I think I read in Jagged Alliance 3 you never have hit percentages. Not sure if that's another indicator, but the preview I was reading seemed to think it was a real negative. Yeah, I'm not sure how it actually works, to be honest. But it's I don't know what about it. It just when I looked at it previously, it was sort of something I wasn't all that impressed with, and particularly if it's all just hand done maps, like that's just it's going to be very limited for me. But I'm saying the XCOM style look was a massive mistake, and I don't think they did it anywhere near as well as XCOM did, or Phoenix Point, for example. Phoenix Point I think has really done XCOM about as good as you can do it. So we can say, and ChatTactic don't bother with the Miasma Chronicles game. It was it needs a real hard balance pass. Okay, it looks more like Newcom than the Jagged Alliance 2. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much replay value it will have. I think it'll have very limited replay value, to be honest. Just from what I can sort of see through there, I don't think it's going to be much strategic choice, which is one of the things, at least with the original game, you had to sort of try to think about which areas you go into to try to get different sorts of resources. I think the game that's going to, for me, do that one, not so much XCOM sort of style, but the one that's probably going to ultimately be more meaningful with these sorts of games is it doesn't have a random map, but I'll just pause that for a second. Is where is it? Modern Total Conflict Resistance. This one is just getting better and better. I haven't played it for a little while, but that is just starting to really, really look good now. And it is improving all the time. So if I just go back across, I'll just ditch that one. Tactical, what was it called again? Total Conflict, not Tactical. Yeah, you can see there that this one is very positive. It's came out in April, basically. And it was ready well before that too. 85%, 84%. This is an amazing game. A really amazing game. I don't think you can pause it properly. I think it's you're just playing it real time the whole time, but it actually does feel very, very good. It's not really like a Jagged Alliance type game, but it is a real time combat game where you can either play strategically or tactically. You've got the choice, so you can either just sort of play from above and just get the different forces moving, or you can take over a unit and then just play as that particular unit, which is, as I say, quite a nice. It's quite a nice game the way it does actually then work. Anyway, that's Total Conflict, but that is worth watching. This is just in early access. The game really does look quite exceptional. I'll just put it out of there. Just go back again. Yeah, I'll have to give Warno a go. Yeah, it's about the same ratings as Total Conflict. I think that was what it was called, wasn't it? Total Conflict Resistance. All right, let's keep on going. So other things to talk about. So we're talking about so tomorrow is going to be the big reveals about Kingdoms. So Field of Glory Kingdoms. I don't know if it's even in here. There it is. So it says coming soon. Now, that's no longer coming soon. They did actually mention this on Tea Time last week, that it's now going to be in 2024. So that's going to be sometime in 2024. They said it's almost 100%. It's going to be 2024, but definitely won't be 2023. So it has been pushed back a little bit. I don't mind games being pushed back if it means that they're going to be better. And look, knowing the developers that are actually working on it, or the main developer that's sort of working on this, he is really, really good at being able to sort of make these sorts of systems work very, very well. Like Agiod as a development group and the games that they've actually done, they're very, very good at historical games. So I'm really looking forward to this one enormously. So that'll be another one for next year. Most anticipated games of 2024. That'll be right at the very, very top, I think. So are there any plans for multi-co-op in Total Conflict? I don't know, actually. I really don't know. Roger was into saying agreed. Also, how every turn-based tactics game is now called an XCOM-like, and if there's no tactics games before the reboot of XCOM. Yeah. I think it's just that two-step, like the two action points that you have, and then the actual, whatever you're then sort of doing with that, which I thought was quite cool, the way that they did actually do that one. Having said that, I mean, Age of Wonders has always had action points. Like they've always had the 3 action points, just not the 2. And they do have cover. So, yeah, I think if you could argue that Age of Wonders was the first XCOM. I've never really thought of it in those sort of terms before, but I guess that's sort of what it can do. So Roger's saying I would only call them XCOM like if they have a 2-point system, one for move and one for action. Yeah, and so Battleman's saying, Agiod makes amazing games. Yeah, they really are quite incredible actually with what they do. So their list of games is very, very impressive. But I find a lot of their games too hard for me, to be honest. It's they're sort of too involved, but they do really do a very, very good job. What's interesting about this one as well, so this is it's a new game from the award-winning studios Agiod, makers of some of the best grand strategy games of all time. That are set in 1054, just after the Great Schism, and it encompasses more than 2 centuries of epic European, African and Middle Eastern history. 375 factions, wow, 325 units, 600 buildings, 14 religious religions or heresies, 90 cultural traits. Wow, this is big. Authority and disorder. So this is actually how they then control the scale of the game. Minister your royal domain with the new authority concept. Keep your population and vassals under control. Promulgate edicts to construct buildings and declare wars on your enemies. Dynasties and characters. So as a ruler, prepare your succession by siring an heir with your spouse or any other person of your choice. Having an heir is by no means a guarantee of a peaceful transition. So it's going to be like, and that would sound like it's going to be more like Crusader Kings, but it's really not. Like it really is going to be a very top level strategy game with the ability to then play battles out in Field of Glory 2 Medieval. So religion, having a neighbour of a different religion will create tensions and sometimes wars, even for tolerant rulers. With the imbalance, when the imbalance is too strong, diplomacy will take a back seat and war will be declared. Lose too many holy cities and watch a crusade or jihad form up. That's going to be interesting. So regions and population. So administer your population from the lowest peasants to the prestigious, powerful and troublesome nobles. The social ladder is difficult to climb, and your ability to keep social classes under control is paramount to success. That, again, sounds different than what will be presented. I'll try to find a screenshot that shows that, if you're not familiar with the game. It's abstracted. It's not going to be... It sounds like it's direct administration on individual populations and stuff. It sort of is, but not in a more abstract way. Warfare, keep your borders protected and build an army of expert combatants. So knights, sergeants, spearmen, crossbowmen, and many more types of units can be used to fulfill your objectives. Field of Glory 2 integration, of course, so you can play the battles out in Field of Glory 2 Medieval. And now, it doesn't say lets you export and load your battles into Field of Glory 2 Medieval and then load the results back into the game. Now, I'm not sure if you need to have all the DLCs to be able to do that. I'm thinking that they probably, to play certain battles, you may need to have DLC. I would imagine. I know that when they did the Ancients version of this game, it was all based around the actual base game. But I think that this one is actually going to be more broad than that. It sounds like it's going to be more broad. Once you think you're ready to be challenged, play against real opponents in one of the largest asynchronous multiplayer systems ever created. Okay, that's interesting as well. I don't tend to like those sorts of multiplayer type games, but anyway, it is going to have it. I know a lot of people do like it. So we've got that Field of Glory 2 day. We might have a look at that as well in just a minute. That's tomorrow. Let's have a quick look and see what we can see in through here. That's just a grand campaign. That's just sort of setting it up. A lot of different suggested starting major nations, and then you can play as anyone though, really. So you can do anything you like. This is the dynasties, sort of established back in through there. Looks like that's the religion screen, or probably the end of turn screen, I think. This is the populations. So the populations are just managed through this particular screen. It's quite functional the way it does actually work. It's just what you have them working on. And so in this case, you've got the area of Constantinople, and then just how the people are then sort of arranged with the different buildings, what they produce. And so it then comes out into, like, they're producing food, infrastructure, money, manpower, metals, equipment, piety, and stewardship. Stewardship is new. We haven't seen that before. So that's interesting. So yeah, tomorrow there should be a big expose on what the game actually does bring, which would be good. I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it a lot. And then we've got sort of like just the main map for moving units around. So this is actually your combat forces. So you then build your armies, and then the armies can go off. It's funny, it didn't actually show the combat, which is interesting, because I hope they show that tomorrow. Because you don't have to play with the Field of Glory 2 Medieval. You can actually just play it all in the strategy game. It is self-contained. And their battle system is really, really quite nice. So Vyvern Games is saying, is Kingdoms real time like Crusader Kings? No, it's definitely just turn based. And so it's a turn based game. The battles are turn based as well. The whole Field of Glory system is turn based as well. So it's not like, it will be almost nothing like Crusader Kings. Other than the fact that there is like a family system in through here. But this is going to be much, much more superficial than Crusader Kings. So if you like if you really like the family side of things, then Crusader Kings will be better than Kingdoms. But if you like the overall grand strategy, then you'll have more control in Kingdoms, I would think. So different games, they're going to sort of fit different sorts of bills. Just trying to think when the first one did come out. What was it? Which one did they bring out? There was a Slytherin game that came out at the same time as their previous title. Actually, that's interesting. They've only got the one game there for that one. That's actually not right. If we go to Field of Glory Empires. And so Field of Glory Empires was the Ancients version of the same thing. And so that was the one that came out with that one. So that's our Geod in through there again as well. So we've got the now this one came out in, when was that? 2019, and Paradox brought out also an Ancients game out at the same time. And even though the Paradox game had more marketing and all that sort of stuff, and it was a more successful game in terms of sales. This was by far the better game, and it was. Really was chalk and cheese. I forget what it was called, the other one. I can't think of what it was. I'll just see if any of you guys have written it down there. I can't think of what the other one was. It's when we sort of go back through the I forget what it was. Anyway, this is an incredibly good game. It really is quite amazing. I don't know if it'll show any of the actual combat in here, but the combat system should be pretty much the same, I would think. So this one here, you had the whole Mediterranean across to India, basically, with what it was doing. You can see it looks very similar to with the actual map itself. These were to do with the different sort of luxury type resources or trade goods. Similar sort of system back in through here as far as managing your populations. You can see through there that there's actually a lot less in this particular game. They actually had pushed it across on different parts of the map. when we were looking at those. This is their battle system. Very, very functional. It's funny, actually, like it's a very simple system that it plays out in a couple of minutes, each battle. So it plays very, very quickly, or you can play it out in the Field of Glory 2 system, and in which case you can take half an hour to an hour to play out their battles. But it's a very, very cool system with a lot of nuance to the way you can actually then sort of structure these battles or prepare for them in their own system. But it's a very, very nice system. So I'm assuming it'll be the same again, I would imagine. There we go through there. That's just showing more of the maps in through there. Very, very cool system, this one. And that's more of the battle systems. This one's out in the desert. The interesting thing with these is actually the width, depending on which environment you're going into. And again, each location has got like different abilities based on the terrain, how broad the actual area is. So in this case, these guys get to surround these guys. So these are fighting at a massive disadvantage because they don't have the full width. But if they were like in a mountain area, they'd be fine because they'd be able to just sit in the mountain pass and sort of block off a very, very large army. So the game actually models all these sorts of things. So it's very, very well done. And again, Agiod really does... like they really think through and distill down into its finest points, like how things sort of need to be modelled, and so they abstract and extrapolate systems out of really surprising things. It's really incredible what they do, and all their games have done that. This is the same sort of thing we're here with naval combat. I'm glad it's funny because they haven't shown any of that to do with kingdoms yet. So. Actually, there we go. Imperator Rome. That was the one. It was Imperator Rome. Battle Mode Scene saying Field of Glory Empires is way better than anything Paradox made. Different games, though. They are different, but they really did come out at exactly the same time. And Empires really was just so polished in comparison. Battle Mode saying, but Field of Glory Empires has such a superb, unique game design. It really is quite cool. And again, Pocus, I think, is going to be doing a presentation. Pocus is the main developer from Agiod, and as I say, just an incredibly smart guy. Really amazing with his thought process with gaming. Really, really interesting. The way he sort of, and he loves games, and so I think he gets quite involved with a lot of the beta testing of a lot of the other games around the place. So he's very happy to sort of share his take on things, and quite often they're very, very insightful. So it's probably going to be too early for me to watch it tomorrow, but I am looking forward to watching it later on, like watching the replay of it, because whenever he talks about something or goes through something, it's always worth it. Okay, Fish Pilot saying the Imperator's biggest problem was that every country felt the same, no matter if you were Rome or some Celtic tribe. Yeah, I didn't play much of it, to be honest. Mr. Fiegel's Maths class is saying Imperator really has come a long way and is good. I still want to go back and play Empires though. Didn't play it enough. Empires was a hard game. Like it did have a barrier to entry. Like it was one of these games that was quite complex. And it's also like it's a game that it is, and Kingdoms will be the same. You won't be trying to take over the world. That's not what these games are about. They are about small objectives, really, just trying to sort of achieve small objectives, which is interesting. Okay, so Fishpilot saying, I've heard that the Invictus mod really makes Imperator a great game. Yeah, I haven't played that since it first came out, actually. And Paul's saying as well, so yeah, Imperator is better than it was, but I find myself never finishing a playthrough as it gets stale. Yeah, a lot of games like that one. So Chris is saying, need to dash. Thanks for the stream. No worries. In fact, we're just about to wind up. What else was I going to talk about? We've gone through all of that stuff. They've got the Slytherin. Yeah, we've done that one. So we've spoken about what's coming tomorrow. I sort of almost wish next week we'll definitely go through what they talk about in the Kingdoms side of things. So we'll definitely have another look at that one. I don't know if they'll talk about what's going to come next for the franchise of Field of Glory, but I don't know personally. So it's not as if I've got any inside information about that one. I do know that it will be rolled on into something else. I think a lot of people are actually interested in Napoleonics, but one thing that Marco had said was that it was that was going to be a something that that they are working on something, but it wasn't going to be Napoleonics. So Bubo is saying Dwarf Fortress. Dwarf Fortress, we did talk about that before, mainly about the exports. You can now export your legends. And so that's actually now with DF Hack. So that's something I do want to test actually, and just try that one with the Legends viewer, because I used to love having that open while I was actually playing the game. So I do want to get back into Dwarf Fortress. Me, myself, and I are saying Field of Glory Empire would be one of my preferred games if it wasn't that provincial puzzle with the things that you could build, giving bonuses to certain neighbours. It is interesting. Like that is probably I think I read something about that they were looking at how they could do that and make more sense of it, because that was quite complex. Just part saying, curious if you have anything you can share on the upcoming Master of Magic DLC. I know nothing at all about it. I know it's on its way, but I don't know anything at all about it other than what's been put onto the Steam page. If we just go and have another look at Steam. Master of Magic. Okay, so roadmap was in here. Yeah, some good stuff that they were. Yes, Rise of the Soul Trapped, which we don't know anything about, but it looks like it's more of a mechanized sort of group that's going to be coming. So, but I don't know anything about it. Nothing at all. DLC, Rise of the Soul Trapped in through there, but I don't know when that's due at all. So even though I'm streaming the game a lot, I don't have any inside information about that one. Okay, so Vyvern Games are saying my issue is that I now prefer real-time games from turn-based ones like Distant Worlds 2. We need more real-time 4X games. Yeah, I think like games like that are quite in-depth. And look, I keep on coming back to Combat Mission. Combat Mission can be played as a real-time game. I tend to like playing it with the where you actually have to give the orders and then it has to interpret the orders. And for me, it makes it more complex, but I do really, really like it. But I'm saying no, that's the game's best feature. The randomised building availability was pure. The randomised is, but I think that what me, myself, and I was talking about was more the trade good buildings. I think that's what I interpreted anyway. I may be wrong there, but not so much what you can build, but the way that you then had to try to maximise how certain things would then go and work. But yeah, the randomised buildings really gave you a lot of replayability. So I think that was really, really quite. I agree with you. It was pure genius. But I read the question differently. Paul Saleh saying I had to look at the Falling Frontier. Looks like it has a real time with pause. Yeah, that's looking very good. Probably the game I've been looking forward to. Hopefully it won't disappoint. It's Hooded Horse published. It is. It's a very small development team, but it does look incredibly good. So. See how that one goes. Roger saying for Battle Mode agreed. I like that too. It made every province different instead of having the usual build order. Yes, it did, and you had to think about it each time. Gary Oakes saying, "Do you know if you can deactivate the city border lines in the new Master of Magic?" No, I don't. I don't think you can. I don't know. No, I'm not sure. I've never tried it, so I don't know. And Battleman saying the economy was built around that randomised feature. It wasn't fully randomised. There was some that were always there, and there were some that were randomised. So Marin was saying I'm not a fan of random tech choices. I like Civ approach much better. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's I liked that it made you change what you're doing. Yeah, Battle saying it was integral to the gameplay. Yeah, I agree, it was. Myself is saying not genius and annoying. Paul is saying solid dev from memory, I think is what you were saying there. Pint of Guinness and strategy chat. Pure joy says Bilko. Thanks, Bilko. Paul is saying the memory. So solid dev from memory. Yeah, I think it's which game were we talking about there? Was that the? I guess it must be just with the Agiod. I'm not sure how many people actually work with Agiod, but Pocus is definitely the main guy with all of the actual with all of that sort of stuff. So Roger's in saying, but I feel so many people complaining about for that feature. It's now going to be changed. It's now going to be changed in Kingdoms. I don't think it. I think that's still. I think my understanding is it's going to be more the trade good upgrade type stuff. That was quite confusing in Empires. That's been my understanding, is what people have been not enjoying. Not so much the buildings as such. But just go back and have another look. If we go back to Empires, will it find it? No, it won't. Because we do get to see it in here. We don't get to see it in the screenshots of the other game. So if we just have a look at these. So now I think that what some of you are talking about is three things. You have a random build order that you get when you're actually developing your province. Now that can be frustrating a little bit, but that's just I don't mind that. Personally, I think that's actually fairly cool, the way that actually does that actually does work. So this one gives you different building options. So that's one thing that is sort of like semi-randomized. Now the next thing, if you just keep on going to the next screens, this one here, the actual provinces themselves have then got random trade goods in them. So these are natural trade goods, manufactured trade goods, imported trade goods. So these are the different sorts of things, like depending on where you actually are. And these get randomized across the map. And so these are different again. This is a different type of resource. And the way that they work is that you, when you've got like different sorts of abilities in wherever you are. Now, some of these don't change and some of them do change. But again, it makes every single game very, very different. The fact that these were random each time you played, I thought was really, really good. I found that run really, really good. Where I think it was a problem. This is how I read the issue. Where I think it was an issue, where it was a problem, was that you had like a range around the province wherever that trade good might happen to be, and I can't really sort of show it any differently than what we actually have in through here. But there would then be bonuses to the surrounding provinces, and then depending on what you built in your provinces, you would then get other bonuses based on that. So it became very, very tricky, and then you had a more convoluted system of transport to then take that around into other zones, either within your empire or across into other empires. It made the trade very, very complex, but it was still a really, really good system at its heart. It just wasn't explained very well in the game, and I thought that was what was going to be changed. I think it's I hope that they still keep the random, the randomization of the actual trade goods themselves. Now, in the base game, there were certain areas that didn't have, like, that were always had the same trade good if that was an important part of that particular faction. But then there were other things where there was some sort of, like, some of the low to mid-level resources would then be randomized, and of course that then gave you different advantages, different things you could then go and do. So for me, it was actually a really, really clever system. So Gary's saying in Kingdoms, trade goods are quantified. So you want certain trade goods producing buildings even more. Yes. So quantified. So you want certain trade goods producing buildings even more. Okay. So we're looking at empires at the moment. So Kingdoms is a new one that's coming. So okay. So they're going to actually make it even more meaningful, which I'm excited about that one. So Battle Mode saying the game randomizes what you get to build, but you can't re-roll. But you can re-roll. Then the trade buildings are also randomized because you have different items available. Yeah, if they remove that feature from Kingdoms, that's a huge disappointment for me. For me as well. It needed the economic game from just clicking through a no-brainer preset order of buildings to something you can actually had to think about. Yeah, because it was sometimes you got a shit roll, and you had to sort of like get something that was either going to be really fast to build, but really crappy, or something like that. And usually it was in the food area of the game. You'd be just wanting to sort of rattle something out so that you at least get more food into the actual population. But I found that was quite interesting, actually. I did like that you had to make a choice. If I'm saying in min-maxing, it was incredibly fun. It was one of the best systems I've ever seen in a 4X grand strategy game, because it made every playthrough compelling outside of wartime. Yes, I agree. It was a very interesting game, and it did play differently each time. Lord Geus is then saying building an economy in empires was the most interesting thing in that game for me. Yeah, a game is good when it does not need DLCs to function, says Eddie Ball Game. Yes, yeah, no, it was good, but I think that the whole trade system took it to another degree of complexity above what it needed to be, and I think they may change. I thought that was what they were maybe trying to sort of find a way to simplify that, but I really don't know. So hopefully tomorrow we find out. I wish I could be there live for it, actually, and just sort of ask the questions. But it'll be still good to sort of see what they do actually say. It's as I say, it will be interesting. But yeah, no, it was a good system. Actually, if we go back to Kingdoms and have another quick look. There it is. Because there was that one screen. That one screen, the one. Let's have a quick look and see what we can see. Unfortunately, I can't blow these up much more than what they actually are. This screen here, this is the replacement for the screen that we saw there just before. But they've still got the food. They've actually split it out even more. So they've now got 6 areas, whereas it was only 4 previously. So in Empires it was 4. They've actually now moved. It used to be that military was part of infrastructure. I think that was the way it actually worked. So now they split it out into 6. So we've now got, what do they have? Food is the first one. Infrastructure is that one through there. Money systems is that one through there. This will be military back into this side. This will be, looks like piety. So religion, yeah, there will be religion back in through that side, and then the bottom one there will be stewardship. So this is quite a different system. And then what we have in the top here is food, infrastructure, and money. So they're the 3 on this side. Manpower and metals and equipment are all combined to create your military, and then piety and stewardship. Yeah, so those 3 there are the resources that you then need to build your empire. I hope you can see that. It's probably very hard for you guys to see that, but that's sort of, so this is actually it's quite different than what it was before, because you used to have these 2 here combined, and you didn't have stewardship. You had culture. How did it work? I think that culture and I think these 2 were combined. Those 2 were combined. So yeah, which gave you sort of your or was it money and something? I forget how it did work now. But anyway, that's it's still looking good. I'm not seeing trade goods though. It's very hard to see what's actually on there. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with the trade goods. Maybe it was just too complex, and they've for people to grasp, because they haven't shown trade goods at all. It may be a simpler game. I don't know if that would be a good or bad thing, to be honest. I mean, it was nice having iron ore. If you didn't have iron ore, you had to find a way to bring it in. If you didn't have iron ore, you couldn't build the the metals that were required to build the types of units that you did actually sort of then go and need. So because saying got to drop. Thanks, Stas. Enjoying as always. Thanks for that one. Fish Pilot saying, I have faith. They came up with so many cool mechanics for Empire that if they decide to scrap a bunch of things for Kingdoms, then I'm sure that will be good. I agree with you. Like Pocus, as I say, is extremely considered. If you're ever sort of in a beta test of any other game and he's actually part of it, I always like watching his take on things, because he really does think things through incredibly well, really, really well. Battle Mode saying, yeah, dirty ball game. Did we play a multiplayer game of Empires on release? I think Richard started it with us too, but dropped out early. And Gary Oakes then saying, if you read the game feature description, I think that they mentioned some of the changes to Empire. Oh, okay. All right, so game features. Let's have a look. See if we can find it. We did actually read all this. Yeah, I'm not seeing any differences listed there. Now this is the thing that's on tomorrow, so this is just going to be a much broader area. They do have a professor coming in to talk about some sort of historical thing. Centered around a historical discussion of Field of Glory 2 Medieval and Field of Glory Kingdoms. What else have we got in through there? Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, that's okay. So they've got a live tournament in collaboration with our beloved community with some of the top 8 players of Field of Glory in Europe. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah. Anyway, that's going to be a big day tomorrow. Okay, so Eddie has had his comments removed. I do apologise. Nightbot is quite draconian in its approach. Don't use all caps or anything like that. I don't know what you wrote. Sorry. Yeah, Gary saying if you read the game features description, I think they mentioned some of the changes to Empire. I can't see it there. Contrary to what I just said, I do hope Kingdoms is quite different to Empires. So I think I think I should do a Field of Glory Empires Let's Play. It's a pretty amazing game. I mean, and the fact that Field of Glory is no longer coming out this year, there's certainly time to do an Empires Let's Play. So Battlemo's saying I trust Pokers to make a good game. I do too. And I think that like with the Agiod games, they do err on the side of being overly complex. And I think if there were elements inside, I don't think he'd dumb it down. I just think he would simplify some of the concepts. So okay. So Eddie Borgo say no problem. I use battle mode in caps. I think that whenever you mention battle mode, that's when Nightbot starts to take notice. Before it's saying I'd watch, but I'm still catching up on your latest Conquest of Elysium 5. Right, so anyway, let's do the giveaway. Let's just do the marble runs. There is no giveaway today. I think we've sort of gone through everything. I just have a quick look through Steam because there was some. There have been some updates. We'll just quickly maybe talk about different updates that came this week. Actually, I've got. This is Gene Rally is an old game that people actually did like back in the day. I'm going to be doing a video on that. You can see I've been playing it a bit this week, so we'll do a video on that one. It's going to be a fun little game. It's fairly expensive for what it is, but but if you do like those really quick little racing games, then that one may be of interest to you. Airships Conquer the Skies, so still more things actually happening there, more tweaks. Great game, that one. X4 Foundations. I haven't played much of this yet, but I do actually have it. I do want to have a look at that one because it does look very, very good. In fact, the space flight aspect of this one looks really, really amazing. It's sort of like almost like as a space flight simulator. I'm really quite liking where that one actually is. Okay, so actually, me, myself, and I are saying these convoluted mechanics would be fine if I could play the game every second day, but I have to put away a game for 3 or 5 weeks at a time, and when I come back, I can't find my way back into it. Yeah, that's a massive thing, actually. This is actually something where it really is that's a very, very good point. And when I look at games personally, I look at them. Like if there's a barrier to entry, but then you don't forget about how to play them, that's one thing. But when you've got a barrier to entry every time you pick it up, that's a massive problem. And games like Field of Glory Empires was in that latter category, unfortunately. The complexity meant that you had to relearn things every time you played the game. There's a few games like that where it's very difficult to just pick up a way of actually sort of then just playing the game, and unfortunately, so if they can simplify some of those mechanics, that will be very, very welcome, I think. So no, I agree with you 100% there, me, myself and I. It's frustrating when you particularly when you want to just play to relax and you go to your list of games and you struggle to find something that you can just bounce straight into without actually having to relearn things. Okay, so Trank is then sort of saying that X4 is a cool and wonderful little game. I haven't played much of it, but I'm really impressed with what I have actually played. But yeah, Battle Mode was responding back to me, myself and I, saying I've started taking notes on these complex games now. I have a poor memory and forget stuff so fast. Yeah, it is annoying actually. Hi Zarks, how you going? When is Field of Glory Kingdoms due? In 2024. So a long time away. It's not going to be this year. Marco did say last week in his tea time that he didn't think it would be able to make it into this year, which means it's probably going to be early next year based on that. But who knows? Battle Mode saying Imperium's Greek Wars is that problem. Relearn every time I play. Yeah, it is frustrating. It is frustrating when you have to do that. It's and I also take notes on games as well if there's something that I need to try to keep track of or remember when I do come back to them. What else have we got? Got Wild Frost. Okay, a bit more stuff in through there. World Box. So more updates there. Just see if there's anything. I thought there was something else. Hex of Steel. I've got to come back and look at this one again. This one has got another update. Development update there for Kerbal Space Program. Just basically more stuff without actually really any substance just yet in terms of the patching. Anything else? Just seeing if there's anything else. We've got this. We're looking at that there. The things happening tomorrow, and then we've already gone through the Age of Wonders 4 stuff. So I think we're sort of good there in terms of games I've been playing this week. Gene Rally, as I say, is just coming out or just come out. I forget when that's actually coming out, but I'll do it. I'll be making a video on that one, hopefully today at some point. Age of Wonders 4, as I say, I can't show that at the moment. I can't really talk much about it. Battle Sector, I've been playing a lot of this actually over the last couple of weeks actually, or particularly in the last week. I do actually have a short series which I'm going to put up about the planetary supremacy mode in Battle Sector. It's very impressive now. I really was quite scathing about it when it first came out with the planetary supremacy mode, but it really has improved enormously. So I've been enjoying playing that one over the last couple of weeks. So as I say, I've already recorded the videos. I've uploaded them. I just have to process them essentially for YouTube. Distant Worlds 2, still loving this game. I mean, been playing that on Twitch. I'm sort of halfway through a game of that at the moment on Twitch, so I'll be sort of continuing that on tomorrow. Star Dynasties, because they do their borders and colours so much better than Distant Worlds 2. Distant Worlds 2 could learn so much if they just would open that game up and have a look at it. I keep on saying it as feedback to them to say, have a look at this game. It does everything you need to do in a very, very simple way because it's only a small game. And it's that it annoys me that Distant Worlds 2 has taken the approach it's taken, particularly with its colours and borders, when they've got a game like this, which is just perfect for what they want to do. Really, really annoys me, actually. So Mariner saying, I wonder if Rule the Waves 3 will catch on. It seems to have a decent following on Steam. I think that it's one of those games where people who play Rule the Waves love it and will continue to love it. And I think that they will get a bit of an injection of new players coming into it. Again, a very, very good game. It's sort of funny, like since I've played Rule the Waves 3, I'm actually just keeping on being much more interested in naval history. So I've been watching a lot of naval history videos. And then we've got Master of Magic, of course, a few other games which I have to test out to see how things are going. Yeah, anyway, there's a few different things in through there that I'll be sort of following through with in the coming weeks. I've got a lot of games in my to try out group, which I just haven't got to much at all. It's funny because I sort of find little games like Gene Rally, which I'm really, really bad at, but I do enjoy playing, so I'll probably play a bit of that one. This is one of these games you can play for like 5 minutes and have a good time and then sort of put it away. It's just a little racing game. Other things to talk about. Actually, one thing that I don't know if I should actually mention it. There's one of these, it's not to do with gaming, it's to do with sport, and there's been a big tournament over in America. I'll just see if I can find it. I think it's just called the soccer tournament. Now, I'm not much of a soccer. It's not wasn't very well publicised, except. And actually, I'll just hang on. What does it want to do? I'll allow that. Okay, so I'll just go back into here. Here it is in here. The site wasn't all that good, but it was like $1 million prize, and they had all these different soccer teams from around the world coming in and playing it. And I didn't watch much of it, but then on social media, they kept on. Everyone was slagging off at the US women's team about how they were losing all their games, and they were being absolutely smashed. But I felt bad for them because when I looked at a few of the actual replays of the games, and I just felt that. The actual spirit of the game was really, really high. They were really, really quite good. In terms of just sportsmanship and from both sides. And when you actually looked at the replay, it was nothing at all like what was being reported about slagging off at the US women's soccer team. Now, I know that there was a big controversy about them wanting all the extra pay and stuff like that, and they did deserve to be sort of, in my opinion, sort of put in their place a little bit, that they're not as good as the men's teams, and that that the money is wherever the vision goes is where the money should go. I do agree with that, but I just thought I felt sad for them because I actually thought that they really, like the goalkeeper for the US women's team did a really, really good job, but it was just a flood of much better players, sort of kicking at the goal. So there's a lot that did get through. Anyway, I thought I'd just mention it because it was, there was some, as I say, some of the actual replays on it were quite interesting. Also, the nature of the game is one where the scoring is quite high. It's just a 7 versus 7 tournament where there's a lot of goals that get kicked in this particular game. And the way it was presented was like an actual game where they lost 12-0 or something like that. But anyway, I thought I'd just mention it. Because I just sort of think it's, like that. Yes, it was right that people actually focused on, on when they were, like a couple of years ago when they were wanting their pay upkeep, and that seemed very like a big disconnect there. But I don't know, in this tournament, I've got to say I did feel sorry for them. Anyway, I thought I'd just mention that, but I won't go into it. Let's go and play some marbles. So Victor is saying, I wish Distant Worlds 2 had ship design as interesting as Rule the Waves. It's pretty good. So Vandermeer is saying one of the women I worked with here has 56 caps for Scotland. Wow, that's pretty amazing. It's I've got 3 daughters, so I love seeing where there's opportunities for women's sport. And I don't, not so much the pay. If the viewership's not there, I just like that there be opportunity. That's from me. That's the big thing. I think it's so important. Sport is so important that people play it, particularly when they're young. And I hate seeing it when we even changed our kids' school at one stage because of where they were more focused on trying to get like an elite team rather than just getting participation. And I think sport's great for people as they're growing up. So yeah, that was one of the things we changed. We changed schools over that. Anyway, let's play marbles. So I'll just go and get everything ready. What we'll do is while that's loaded, I should better load it in now, but not sort of Alt Tab back out. There we go. So Drexy's then saying my PE teacher was the captain of the Welsh women's rugby team. Yeah, no, it's great sport. It's really, really cool. Okay, so we'll just leave that one where that is. Just click on profile. I'll just go back across. It used to come in with black eyes. Wow. That wouldn't be good. Now we'll just go back across. Get Nightbot. Now hopefully this will work. It didn't work last week. Is it working today? Yes, it is. So I think we're in the right place. So I'll just go to giveaways. Yeah, this is good. And so I'll just go. I'll just just put the word winner in. So if you just type in the word winner, that way, so I'll get everything set up while you guys put in those words. And so just type in winner to be in the race. Again, no keys to give away today, unfortunately. So Roger's saying I can mail you some Steam keys that I've left from my old bundles and such for the marble run in the next weeks. Oh, look, if you're wanting to, that would be cool. I mean, it's sort of it's one of those things where like I just got to keep on trying to get various developers to sort of I've got to contact them really. I do like to try to have ones that are fairly recent if I can get them, but yeah, no, that'd be great if you don't mind. That'd be cool. So we'll just keep on going back across. So we'll go back into here. So we need to go across to race. It's quite confusing the way that they've got this all set up. Let's go to the very bottom one. Actually, that's 5 minutes. Let's not do 5 minutes. We've got Marble Canyon. I don't know if we've done that one. Let's do that one. All right, let's go back out into the list, and I'll just go and grab the Sublime text. All right, so Sithil is the last one in. Okay, we'll just do a copy of those. A small group today. Okay, so just go into there. What, no one wants to win nothing? We'll just go back across into here. Find, replace. Okay, we'll save that. Okay, we've got 19 players in this one. And go back across to Marble Run. Clear those, open. Simulation, and 19. All right, there we go. So Thistle's saying, I feel like I win nothing every day. Good luck, guys. There's a lot riding on this one. So Battlemode's saying, hey Daz, remember when you played Fall Guys on your channel and people got upset it wasn't a strategy game? I don't remember much about that. Oh, this looks interesting. We haven't played this one before. Yeah, Marble Game reminds me of that. People like this Marble Game. I like it actually a lot. All right, let's get started. So we'll start the race. So good luck, everyone. Yeah, what have we got in here? So, oh, it's 3 laps by the looks of things. Okay. So I'll just press number 1. We'll just go back out across. So it's Oliver. Nope, it's Maladroit. Just have a bit of a look at this. Okay, Miguel is miles out ahead now. Got the scale of this. Sorry, guys, it really is. Yeah, C gives me a different cameras, but it's not going to help me, unfortunately. God, it's a bit all over the place. I'll just come back out for whatever reason. It's just not. Oh, Drexy's out in front now. Yep, Mike's now hit the lead. Drexy's back out in the lead again. Mike's okay. You guys are swapping over the lead time and time again. And battle mode's now coming up as well. Oliver's now hit up there as well. So it's now Ben and Drexy. The Explorminate guys are out in front. Probably going to sort of try to. Yeah, it's weird trying to keep the. If I stay inside the area here, I think I can then see what's going on. Just go out to battle mode's marble. Really sort of keep up with them. They're going too fast. Okay, we're on the 3rd lap now, and Ben's miles out in front. So Mike's a fair way behind. Actually, they're catching up. Yeah, Yeah, sorry, this is a weird, trying to keep the screen, the camera in a position where it doesn't dominate. This is not a good one for recording. I think Ben's got this one won. I think he's miles out in front. Mike's trying to come. Oh, Mike is coming through. Actually, Sapior's now actually hit second place. Did Mike drop out? Oh no, he's back there in fifth. And Drexy's back in sixth. We've got Gyrox. Gyrox now coming second, and Ben did actually get across the line first. There we are. So we've got, actually it was Ben followed by me. Actually, I must have come through, and then Gyrox, Mike Gillespie, Miguel, Drexy, Ramstein, Ridiculous. There we go. So well done, Ben. Congratulations on the win. And there's the winners list in through there as well, with Trank coming in a dismal last place. Trank saying, yeah, botched the start. Seppi was saying, I'm lurking all the time. It's about my time to shine. Yes, it is fun doing these. Actually, I do enjoy them. Oliver was out in front, weren't you, at the start? I thought, and Maladroit was too at the very, very start of the game. So you guys underperformed through the middle of the actual race itself. Anyway, congratulations on winning nothing, Ben. Next week, hopefully, we'll have some giveaways. So no, that'd be great if there are any keys there. I'll certainly, at least having something to actually win is always a good thing. Drex is saying, "Damn, I thought I had that." Yeah, we're a fair way ahead. You were a fair way ahead. Yeah. Gary's saying, yeah, Battle Mode won one copy of Filgory 2. Yes. Actually, what I should do is just get a big long list of all the free games on Steam and just have them as my giveaway. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. It's always fun. I really enjoy these. Actually, it's good. I love getting your perspective on things as well. I know I missed a fair few of the comments there in the middle. It got away from me a little bit. I don't know how I can change that. I'm almost wonder. Yeah, I don't know how I can actually fix that up. Maybe Discord might be the answer there. But we'll see how we go, I guess. But anyway, thanks for participating. It's, as I say, I really do value the time, and it's great to get your perspective on different games. And I will actually have a look up on Warno and see if I can actually get my hands on that one as well. I'll catch